Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
And Grump's got to make sure all his hairs are in order. I hear you, Grump.
Well, I tell you, it doesn't matter. It's going to be shitty looking today. What can I tell you? I'm pulling AJ Malesko today.
Ooh.
And with us here, as always, is the magnificent Son X, the king of
time, baby. X time, baby. Let's get it going.
X time, baby. Let's get it going. But the king of comments, Son X.
Right.
If you're new to this channel, welcome. This is a twice a week all sports podcast that takes place every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, if you're new to the channel, we cover anything and everything sports on this show. We talk NFL, we talk NHL, we talk college athletics, we talk baseball, we talk European football, we talk anything and everything sports on this show. So if you like the fun times, you like the topics that we cover, you like the takes and perhaps hot takes that we have and the fun time of shooting the shit, make sure to do a few things. And you like this podcast, make sure to do a few things. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. So that means that you get an update and a notification anytime we go live. That's definitely a big thing.
His internet went out probably.
I don't know. It would have given us like a little pinwheel. I think Grumpy's computer just turned off.
Ancient Grumptown.
But don't worry, it's just going to be X and I guess, until Grumpy gets his issues sorted out. Oh, here he is. Grumpy, welcome back, my friend. But we were just saying, if you like the content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of our future podcasts. And make sure to like the video, right? Because when you like the video, that lets us know that you like the content that we're putting out. For today's episode, got a lot to cover. There's a lot of NFL to cover. I tell you this, I mean, a lot of things are happening around the league. Some moving and shaking the coaching carousel. This week's playoff predictions, we'll have those coming this way too. We've got some college basketball. There's some hot takes made by a few professionals there that will happen to showcase. And hey, we've got here some conspiracy theories regarding sports right off the rip too. So that will be fun to cover also. But
do we have any women's sports we can talk about? Any women's sports today?
Oh, well, because Grumpy is so nice when he talks about female sports. We don't have any of those because we got to try to make things. Go ahead, Hex.
Oh, I said none, Grumpy. No sports for the women.
No sports because you can't control yourself a lot of times, Grumpy, unfortunately.
Everyone knows that I'm a big supporter of women's sports.
Are you really, Grump? You trick me, I guess, because you don't seem like that when we bring them up on topic. So that's the reason we're
talking about it. I love them. I love to talk about women's sports. I feel it gives them a platform.
Yeah, just wait till that son of a bitch starts talking about female sports and athletics. It is anything and everything. It is not very nice. It's not nice. I'll put it like that. I saw this in the news. Cam McCormick, Miami tight end, will be back for his 9th season of college football. Holy shit. He was in the same recruiting class as he's in this. You can't talk the same thing. He's in the same recruiting class of Jalen Hurts and Nick Bosa. But what were we going to say, Grumpy?
He's a professional student.
Man, this guy should have a master's. I don't know. He should have something going on there if he's.
He should have his freaking doctorate by now, maybe 2.
Yeah. Yep.
9 years. I don't even know how you can have 9 years of eligibility. And I'm like, I don't understand that. I mean, like I think he was only like 25 or 26, this kid. I'm shocked by 9 years in college.
Like, I don't know. I maybe he had a couple of injuries. He got redshirted.
He's only 25 years old. Only 25.
Had some COVID years.
Yep.
I'm confused because if you're 25 years old, let's say you'll be 26 come the start of the season. You must have been a young 17 years old when you went there.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think. Yeah, 9 years in school.
Yeah.
I don't get it. When is it time to hang up the cleats, buddy?
Well,
It's not like this is a guy who's breaking records left and right or anything like that. I mean, like this kid played.
How long he's been playing?
He's played 13 games and 20. I mean, you look at his stats, right? That's the thing that I look at, right? Because a tight end, he's going to catch the football. He'll serve, as a member of the team. He'll do a lot of things. Look at. I'm not trying to be little, but I'm just like I don't understand the reason to come back, right? In Oregon in 2022. He played 13 games, had 10 receptions, 3 were for touchdowns. He scored 3 touchdowns. That was pretty good. 66 yards receiving in 13 games. I mean, good tight ends get that in one game in a college football. Not an entire season. And this year played 13 games for University of Miami. Had 8 receptions and 62 yards, right? You think about this. 9 years of college football for 231 receiving yards and 26 receptions.
My thing is, how is he still on scholarship?
I don't think he even redshirt. He didn't even redshirt. He's been a senior. This will be his 5th year as a senior.
No, okay. This will be his 5th year as a senior. But here's the thing, right? So 2017, he didn't redshirt. 2018 was an injury redshirt. You could play a game and you could still redshirt. And then 2020 was the COVID year. 2019, he was out the entire year due to injury.
Right.
2021, he played 2 games, right? So that could be counted. I think they had a lot of weird rules here during this time period. But
you can't play. I think what the rule is if you play 3 or more games, you can't redshirt.
Yeah, but you can't double or triple or quadruple red shirt. Once you've used your red shirt, you've used your red shirt. Unless like he's getting med red. So like who the hell? Long story short, he's been here a long freaking time. I'm not going to get into the logistics of it, but I'm like, the one thing I don't understand, it's not like he's producing on the field. I don't get maybe he just loves it. I mean, it's a grind playing college athletics and professional athletics. They beat the hell out of your body. And I just don't get it for a guy like this who's, had, I'd say, very, very marginal success. And that's putting it as nicely as I can.
Well, I don't know. Good for him. I think the NI deals he should be getting are like things for Metamucil or, Depends, that type of stuff. I mean, it's nice to see an older fellow like that be able to get an NIL deal, and he should sell to, he should be advertising to people in his age group. I don't have any problem with that.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm not saying I have a problem with it. I just don't understand. The guy's most successful season was his rookie or his freshman year.
I just wonder if he's on contract on scholarship.
He's on scholarship. Don't get fixated on that. I'm sure he's on scholarship. He's not going back paying his way every single year for receiving 8 times, catching 8 balls, and having 62 yards. He's got to be on scholarship. I
would argue and say his best year was in 2022 with Oregon, not his freshman year.
I don't know. Like his freshman year, he only played 7 games, so he played almost half the amount of games. Had more. That was the pinnacle. That was the most receiving yards that Cam ever recorded with 89. I don't know. The entire thing is baffling to me. I did see it come up. I knew that he was applying for the extra year of eligibility. He got it, but I don't know. Maybe I have something to look forward to when Pittsburgh plays University of Miami this year. I'll be on the lookout for Cam and seeing how well he plays in a game, what type of impact he makes.
He'll be filling up water bottles on the sidelines.
None. I feel his impact will be nothing.
Oh, gosh. Something I want to talk about here, too. You look at former coaches around the league, getting second looks and second chances. Former Cardinals head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, who was a senior offensive analyst and a quarterbacks coach at USC, is expected to interview for the Chicago Bears offensive coordinator. What do you think about that? And again, the Williams is expected, to receive strong consideration to become the Bears' #1 overall pick. What do you think about this potentially?
X, any thoughts on that?
Their offense wasn't too great this year. I'm just shocked that a guy like that's getting looked at. I mean, the only thing I can think of is it's Caleb Williams doing what Caleb Williams does best, putting in another demand for him in the draft, and he wants this guy as his freaking offensive coordinator.
Okay. I look at this. I think Cliff Kingsbury's contract with the Arizona Cardinals is probably up. So he realizes he has to go back to work now. So he's going to get an NFL job as an offensive coordinator. Is that good news or bad news? I don't know what his relationship with Caleb Williams was at USC. If it was a good relationship, a strong relationship, maybe it means they're going to move on from Justin Fields. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that Chicago's in really a good spot in the draft this year. They're picking 1st and 9th, I believe it is. And I mean, if they feel that Justin Fields is not the answer and feel that Caleb Williams is, there's your number 1 pick. You can still get assets for Justin Fields because someone will trade for him. I don't know what you'll get. I don't know if it'll be a first-round draft pick, but probably something in the 2nd round, I would think, for somebody who's been in the league a number of years. And, one thing about Justin Fields, I believe every year he's been there, he's had a different offensive coordinator. And I don't know how people expect quarterbacks to produce when they got a different OC every year. It was the same thing. Baker Mayfield, same thing, right? Different OC every single year, which makes it that when there's no continuity, it's tough for guys to improve because everyone comes in with a different system. I just think it's more difficult. That's all.
Okay, here's the thing. I think it's as clear as day. They're going to bring in Cliff Kingsbury, and they're going to draft Caleb Williams. The reason that he's being interviewed for the job is because he was the offensive analyst and the quarterbacks coach for USC.
But their offense was terrible this year.
I didn't think they were all that impressive offensively either. But here's the thing. Dumb organizations do dumb things. And this, I think, would be a dumb move. It would be doubling down on dumb. I'm not in love and infatuated with Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not in love and infatuated with Caleb Williams. I don't think he's the best quarterback in this year's draft, but that seems to be what they're going to do. And you could book this now. If they go ahead and hire Cliff Kingsbury there to be the offensive coordinator, book it down now that Caleb Williams will be the 1st overall draft pick in this year's draft. And I think that's a mistake.
Okay. I mean, like I said, you can't argue with his success with quarterbacks though. Wasn't he the offensive coordinator for Patrick Mahomes also?
Okay. He didn't create Patrick Mahomes, but yes,
okay.
he was the head. I think he was the head coach at Texas Tech or the OC at Texas Tech at that time period when Patrick Mahomes was there.
Okay, but you can't say that he hasn't helped quarterbacks. That's all I'm saying. Then Kyler Murray, he did it. He was fantastic when he played for him at Arizona.
Let me ask something, Grunt. Let me ask something. Do you think that Caleb Williams has progressed from last year to this year?
No, I don't think he was. I think there are a lot of other things at play, honestly.
Do you think that this Caleb Williams this year was better than the Caleb Williams at Oklahoma?
Yeah, I didn't like him at Oklahoma.
Really? No shot in hell, in my opinion. No, the Caleb Williams at Oklahoma was way better than the Caleb Williams this year.
Okay. Like I said, I didn't like him at Oklahoma's first year. He split time with Spencer Rattler, as I recall.
Well, he took the job from Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think he was very accurate. I thought last year was absolutely his best year playing for USC. This year, not as good. And like I said, things just kind of went off the rails like the last 5-6 games of the year. Kind of just went off.
I wouldn't feel too confident with this guy where Caleb Williams has regressed from last year to this year, and this guy at the helm is your quarterback's coach. Because it wasn't like, oh, Caleb Williams was hitting guys right in the hands and they were just dropping balls. I mean, he just wasn't playing well.
I don't think their offensive line was very good this year, USC's.
Oh.
I didn't think their wide receivers. Here's the thing. I thought they started off good, then they lost a couple of games and they just fell apart. And he individually fell apart, which I don't blame that on the offensive coordinator or whatever Kingsbury was doing for them. I think Kingsbury's a good coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach, but I do think he works really well with court. Will you stop doing that, please, TJ? Just stop it.
I don't know if your is going in and out. I just hear weird.
Okay, well, you going like this every time something doesn't fit your high standards. That doesn't help. So, like I said, I think Cliff Kingsbury is good at working with quarterbacks. I don't think you can deny it. That said, I don't think he's a head coach, but as an OC, or a quarterback's coach, I don't have any problem with him. You see what they've had in Chicago? My gosh, their offense is out of the 1960s. I mean, it's just they need somebody to help revolutionize this offense. Maybe they're going to go, maybe they move up and they go for Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. Maybe they just say they're not going to get Caleb Williams. They're going to keep Fields. There's a lot of different things they can do.
Why would they do that? If they bring in the offensive, if they bring in the old quarter, right? If you're the offensive analyst and a quarterback coach of a certain quarterback who's projected to be the first overall pick, and you go ahead and hire that coach to be your offensive coordinator, you're probably going to bring in that guy to be your new quarterback. And the reason you're bringing him in is because of the relationship he has and what you feel confident in that he can continue to develop. Now, I'm not a fan of Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's fell into fantastic situations. I think he's a shitty and miserable coach. I don't think much of him at all. Not at all. Now, here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes, I believe, with Cliff Kingsbury, without Cliff Kingsbury, doesn't matter who would be there, he was going to be successful. I think he's just one of those type of guys. He's a really special player to where it doesn't matter who's the coach there, he'll find a way to be. It's like Tom Brady. I think if Tom Brady wasn't playing for the New England Patriots and wasn't under Bill Belichick or wasn't, hey, Josh McDaniels was coach for a while, he still would find a way to be unbelievably successful because that's how good of a player he is. I believe the same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Now, here's the thing. Kyler Murray has been a completely average mid-tier quarterback across the board. That is not a good discussion to say he's fantastic and that makes things work. He's been an average QB. And Caleb Williams, the 1 year he goes there, regresses, in my opinion. It takes
his second year there. It's his second year.
I'm sorry, the second year there. He takes a step backwards. I'm sorry. I would not. This would be a catastrophic blunder for that team. Catastrophic.
Can you read this comment? Crump, can you read the comment?
If the Bears hired Cliff Kingsbury, that would set the franchise back at least 5 years. Cliff couldn't even succeed with Patrick Mahomes in college. It was freaking Texas Tech. And he flamed out in Arizona. He sucks. Yeah, I don't think he's a head coach, but I think he's a guy who can work with quarterbacks. Not everybody makes a good head coach. Here's the thing. Chicago could do a lot worse at the offensive coordinator position than Cliff Kingsbury. I think you're both mistaken there.
Do you think Cliff Kingsbury made Patrick Mahomes?
I think he absolutely developed him. Absolutely. He was the coach there.
The catalyst behind Patrick Mahomes being who he is today, Cliff Kingsbury. Give Cliff Kingsbury the credit. That's who deserves it, not the player, not like this guy would have been special anywhere else. It's all on Cliff Kingsbury. Again,
you asked me if I think he helped develop him. The answer is yes. It was that offense too. That offense that he runs is, it focuses on the quarterback. It's really quarterback centric, and it gives you the ability to shine and show off your skill set. I have no problem with. I don't like him as a head coach, but as an OC or a guy who's working with quarterbacks, no problem at all with Cliff Kingsbury.
Let me ask you this, Grump. So let's say they decide they get Kingsbury and they decide to pick up Caleb Williams. Do you think they tried to trade Fields to move up for another pick? And if so, who do you think they would select with that pick, and who do you think they could trade with to move up?
I think they have 2 picks in the first round.
They have number 9.
1 and number 9. So, I mean, they can move up. They also have picks in other rounds. They can move up. I think they'll absolutely move Justin Fields. I don't know what his value is. I would think at least a second-round pick.
I don't think
for Justin Fields. He shows flashes sometimes of being able to do things, but once again, every year he's been there, he's had a new OC or a new head coach or both. And it's like, I just think it's tough for a guy to develop like that. There has to be some type of continuity for a player to develop. And he has, as particularly a quarterback, if you're coming in and it's a new system every year, it's like, what do you expect from a guy?
Let's take a look at the amazing development that we saw under Kyler Murray, under Cliff Kingsbury. 3,700 passing yards, 3,900 passing yards, 3,700 passing yards, 2,300 passing yards, injury, end of Cliff Kingsbury. Okay, so he is exactly what he is. I'm not seeing any growth in Kyler Murray at all when he was there. Continue just to stagnate. I'm sorry.
You're leaving out his rushing numbers also. He was good. They improved. He was in 2018, they had the first pick in the draft because they were so bad. They improved within 2 years. They're freaking 9-5. I mean,
544,
think about it.
819, 423, 418.
Okay, so he's had quite a. I mean, he rushes too, and he's been banged up. That's the one issue that has been with Kyler Murray, particularly the first couple of years, or the second and third year anyway. He, as the year got deeper into the year, even when he wasn't hurt, I think he kind of wore down because he's a smaller guy, and I just think he kind of wore down a little bit.
Last year was the first year he had a serious injury.
2 years ago.
2022.
Yeah, he had the knee injury, and he came back. And he turned that team. They were terrible till he got there.
2022, he had the. Oh, I guess you're considering 2023 season over because the regular season's over. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, but here's the thing: 3 and 5, Grumpy. That's not turning the team around.
What was their record? What was their record on the season? What was their record on the season?
I'll pull it up for you.
It was 4-13. They were 4-13. So whatever, 1-8 and 3-5 down the stretch. I mean, I thought Kyler Murray looked good at the end of the year. I think here's the thing. I know you don't think much of Kyler Murray. You can win with Kyler Murray, but you have to have other things. You have to.
Weren't they running Colt McCoy at quarterback? Arizona.
Yeah, they had miserable QBs, and we're like,
Dobbs. I think they had Josh Dobbs to start.
Who got traded to Minnesota and then lost his job in Minnesota.
When Murray came back. Well, yeah, they were 1-8. And then he comes in, they go 3-5 down the stretch, and they were better. Arizona was better down the stretch.
They had no quarterback, and then they had a starting quarterback in the NFL. It's very simple.
I mean, it's the same thing with the Chargers, and they lost Justin Herbert. They were out.
They're a much better team with Justin Herbert than not Justin Herbert. Any team is better with their starting QB than QB.
I mean, but remember, he came in, it was a whole new system he had to learn this year because they had a new coach, a new system. And I thought he did fine. Let me tell you something. If you could do a lot worse than Kyler Murray as your starting quarterback, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. I don't think much of Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's been very fortunate with the situations he's been placed in. I think that's a bad choice if something like that were to happen to that franchise. They're in a prime opportunity to make things right. Doing that would be a catastrophic blunder, almost of epic proportions, the same way that Miami Dolphins screwed everything up with the wrong quarterback selection. You can see firsthand when you make the wrong QB selection what the ramifications are at this high in the draft. And they will make the wrong quarterback selection, and they will be punished for that.
You don't like Justin Fields either. You don't like him either.
Drake May is the guy you select. I'm still suggesting you pick a quarterback. You don't pick the shitty one. You don't pick the midget. You don't pick the guy who's injury prone. You don't pick the guy who's crying to his mama after they lose on one fucking game. You don't pick that kid. That's the one you don't pick.
Painting his nails.
You realize that the consensus around the league. Now, I like Drake May. I'm a sizist without a doubt. I like the guys who are bigger as opposed to the smaller guys. I do. I've never been a fan of Caleb Williams. Never. When he was up with Oklahoma or at USC. I don't like his body type. I don't think he's fast. I don't know what all the hubbub's about. He wins games and he makes plays, but I don't think I would think that he would have a bust out potential higher than Drake May. Let me put it to you that way. Drake May,
I think he's extremely overrated.
I do like Drake May. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but their style is similar, where they're basically pocket passers and Josh Allen too, same thing. Basically pocket passers who can run when they need to, or even Justin Herbert, even though Herbert doesn't.
Yeah, I was going to say he reminds me a lot of his college career. Reminds me a lot of Justin Herbert's. Justin Herbert was really good in college, but never got the hype because his team wasn't great.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just, I'm just saying.
Justin Herbert played for Oregon. His team was very good.
No, they were not great.
They won the Rose Bowl his last year there and beat Wisconsin. They absolutely were a good team when he was there.
Okay, I'm saying they didn't make college playoffs, is what I'm saying. So he didn't get the
hype. Playoffs?
He didn't win a Heisman, therefore he didn't get the hype.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Caleb Williams has all this hype because he's a Heisman Trophy winner. That's why.
He has the hype because soft brains don't understand. Soft brains, Whippy.
like the Chicago Bears.
Now, what do you think about the consensus third quarterback, the Heisman Trophy winner, Daniels?
I've got to do more research. I've got to watch more film. I could just tell you this. I know the Williams kid is not going to be successful. Best case scenario, he's another one of those average to and above average quarterback. You don't piss away a first overall pick on an average to and above average quarterback. Just don't do it.
Well, that's the nature of the position, though, isn't it? Guys get overdrafted when they're quarterbacks because it's the most important. It's the most important position.
I'd rather take a bigger swing at a QB at the first overall pick for a higher ceiling than a guy who's going to be a steady Eddie average QB.
Well, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. These guys look at a lot of film. They talk to a lot of people. That's how they make the determination. I mean, to me, Jalen Daniels is the only guy that I look at and I'm like, yeah, that kid's a project. I know he won the Heisman. I know he threw for a bunch of yards, but it's like he's a run guy. He's not a guy who's looking to pass the ball first. He rushes to set up the pass. His guys are wide open all over the field too.
Same way
with who?
Same way with Anthony Richardson. Sorry, go ahead.
Similar, but I mean, at least Richardson is built like a man. This kid's a stick figure.
I'm just saying, has the same mindset as Anthony Richardson, who was a run-first guy, and it's the reason why he had a season-ending injury within 5 or 6 games of the season, because you can't do that in the NFL. That's all I was trying to continue. I just want to say he reminds me a little of him.
Y'all, I think he's a better pass than Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is not a great thrower. He's got a great arm, but he's not accurate at all. I mean,
I think what TJ's trying to say is they were both projects coming out of college.
They're both run first mindsets in their projects. That's all.
Yeah, but I mean, I hadn't even heard of Jalen Daniels until he won the Heisman Trophy. Remember, he wasn't even a favorite till 2 weeks before he won. It was somebody else every week, and then all of a sudden, boom, he pops up, and his numbers were really good at LSU. No doubt.
Do you mean Jaden Daniels? You keep calling him Jalen. It's Jaden Daniels.
Okay, whatever. The Daniels kid, the Heisman Trophy winner. Like I said, LSU. I didn't see him play at all. I saw a couple of highlight packages. I'm like, okay, everybody's wide open. He likes to run the ball. He's a runner. He's a runner first, passer second.
Yep.
Those guys tend to get injured.
Those guys tend not to be successful because there's much better athletes. They're much bigger. They're much stronger. They're much faster. And what you can get away with in college, you can't get away with in the NFL. So that's why, the skill running is a depreciable skill. It's the reason why running backs have the shortest shelf life out of any NFL players, because it's all based off of speed and their ability to take contact. But a quarterback who can sit in the pocket and throw the football, if he stays healthy, has your longest potential, span to play besides kicker.
If you're the Giants at 6, would you try to move up and get one of those quarterbacks?
They screwed themselves and here's the thing. When you won the last game.
No, it's not my question.
Depends on what it costs. Depends on what it costs.
So you think it's worth trading up from 6? Do you think it's worth trying to trade up from 6 to 3 or 2, for instance?
You might have to trade up to 2. Depends on what the price is. I'm not opposed. I'd say see you later, Barkley. If you could package something up and say see you later, Saquon Barkley, see you later.
What does Barkley have to do with it? No one's trading for Barkley.
You're going to have to give up.
It's going to be draft picks. You got to give up draft picks. Nobody trades for players. They trade for draft picks.
Oh, there's never been a player trade before for a draft pick?
It doesn't happen often. It's usually
not for value. Not for value, it's not.
Again.
DJ Moore was a freaking throw-in. Think about this. He was Chicago's #1 wide receiver this year. He was a throw-in. It was getting this year's pick, last year's pick, and second-round pick last year, whatever, and third-round pick this year, whatever it is, whatever the Panthers gave up to move up from 9 to 1. DJ Moore was a throw-in. DJ Moore wasn't the feature part of the package. It's the draft picks.
Saquon Barkley is much higher rated than DJ Moore, right? We can agree on that, right?
Okay. No one's
not in fantasy numbers.
It's going to be draft picks. You're not going to see a player as the marquee piece, a running back no less, to try to move up. And they're not.
You're going to have to give up a first plus, my friend.
Yes, you will. Absolutely.
If it takes a first plus Barkley, I'm fine with that. See you later.
It's not going to be a first plus Barkley. Again, you're overvaluing the running back. It's draft picks. Teams want draft picks. They want to be able to manipulate their draft board every year. They don't want a guy who's got 4 years of tread and how many injuries on his, 4 years of tread on his tires and how many injuries. That's not what they're interested in picking up. They have a running back there. Running backs are a dime a dozen. You say so yourself. Why would you trade
you
for a
agree with me now? You agree with me now that Barkley selection, Barkley way overhyped.
No, I didn't say that.
And he has value. And he has value, Grumpy, if that's the case.
Teams are not trading for running backs. They're not trading number 1 picks in the draft or number 2 pick in the draft for a running back and number 6. They're just not. It'll be draft picks.
You don't think if you say, hey, here's a guy Barkley who
won. No, that's right. I don't think that. The teams look at it as like, you know what? I want as many draft picks. So this way I have picks and I'm going to keep my team younger. I'm going to keep my team under, have more money towards the salary cap. That's what they're looking for. They want flexibility. They don't want to trade for a running back who's going to be franchise tagged. Sorry, not going to happen. That's why Jonathan Taylor and Jonathan Taylor's a good back, younger than Saquon Barkley, right? And he had they weren't getting any offers higher than a 2nd round pick for him, for Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
Well, that's why he wasn't moved. They thought they should get more, and they wound up having to pay him.
If that's a piece that has to sweeten the deal and you've got to get rid of Barkley, I'm fine with that.
Okay, forget the Barkley thing. I know your Barkley hate. I just asked, would you trade up from 6 to 3 or 2 to get one of those quarterbacks?
It depends on the asking price. But guess what? If you can guarantee that, hey, and have a strong understanding that the Bears are going to be screwing up their selection by drafting Williams, yes, I'd be interested in trading up for the 2nd overall selection to get Drake May. That's fine. But here's the thing. The Giants screwed themselves by moving from what would have been the 5th overall pick to the 6th overall pick with a win at the last game of the season. That was just a bad decision. Shitty. Ugh, bad time to be a fan.
There's going to be teams. You're going to have to trade up. Then it's like, will Washington even want to make a deal at 2? They need a quarterback.
Yep. And then New England. You have New England.
And then New England. Gerard Mayo, their new coach, practically came out and said they're drafting a quarterback yesterday at his introductory press conference. So it's like, then there's no quarterbacks available for the Giants, and you're stuck with Daniel Jones for another year.
Yep.
Then you're going to have to draft a Bo Nix type or a Michael Penix type at the top of the 2nd round or whoever. I mean, that's what you're stuck with.
Just double down on the suck. Don't draft a quarterback and just gut the team. And then hopefully next year, the right quarterback is available as you're drafted in the top 5 again.
That's a big hope.
Coaches and GMs don't want to lose their job.
If you can get the number 1 pick, Quinn Ewers will be available next year.
Yeah, well, you won't need a number 1 pick for him. You're probably picking the 3rd round.
I'm going to tell you one thing. That would immediately save the franchise. That would be honestly be the best Giants quarterback in the history of the franchise. Better than Phil Simms. Not even close.
I think he put Phil Simms to shame.
You know what? He's not even making me forget about James Street. He was a Texas quarterback. He was a Texas quarterback in 1969.
I thought you were going to say Jaden Daniels. I thought you were going to say Jaden Daniels.
I'm interested to see what Daniels does at the combine. He looks really, really skinny.
I don't care about the combine.
I like to see what the
not for him. Not for him. I don't give a shit about his numbers. He's going to be extremely athletic. He's going to be a workout warrior. I already know he can do that. I don't care about that. The only thing I care about for the combine numbers are the guys where it's like, I'm not sure what type of athleticism this guy has. I really haven't seen that showcased on the field. If they surprise in the combine, that moves them up on my book. Quarterbacks, I don't care too much about the combine. How do you throw the football? How's your timing look? Are you hitting your throws? Good delivery, quick release? What does that look like? What are your mechanics? That's what I care about.
Okay. All right, let's get into some comments.
Alrighty. Grumpy.
Drew says, I don't know what's more embarrassing, watching the Dolphins play in the cold or NBC censoring CJ Stroud's love for Jesus. I thought that was interesting, honestly, because I watched it.
Real or not. I wasn't sure if that was real or not.
It absolutely was real because I watched it live. And that's the first thing he said. And when they did their clips, they cut that out. I'm like, why are they doing that? I mean, then it makes you say, because there are a lot of players, when you hear them live, they express their love for Jesus Christ. And I just wonder if they always cut that out. It's interesting because I bet if they maybe said something that doesn't fit what some people think and maybe other people do, and they let it slide. I don't know. I really don't trust any of the TV networks to do the right thing, to be honest with you.
Here's the thing: if he has a problem, what I do is I just never interview with NBC again. There you go. That's how you solve your problem. If you know what I mean, like I wasn't sure if this is real or not, but I'll let you listen to
your
it.
first season and a record-setting performance for you. What does this moment mean?
I mean, it's been amazing being in this city for as short as I've been. But first and foremost, I just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's been amazing being
In your first.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing.
Right? Think about how many. What did you cut out? 3 seconds? Just stop. That was a conscious decision by the hacks at NBC to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, I want to interview.
I'm glad somebody called them out on it, though.
I would not interview with NBC again then. If you have a problem, right? Like if he has a problem about it, takes a strong stance. Well, he should just never interview with NBC again, and ask him like, or go up there and say, I'm not interviewing with you because you edited my clip. Whatever he wants to do, that's fine. You have a platform to do that. Say what you want at that point. I don't care.
Yep.
What are the comments we got here, X? Oh, I'm sorry. He mentioned about the Miami game. There's something interesting I want to bring up about the Miami Kansas City Chiefs game here in a second, but let's get through some comments.
Just bring it up now. Just do it. Okay. Freeze Warning says, evening, fellas. Great day to be alive. Happy birthday,
Yes.
Freeze Warning. EAFC 2024 TOT. What's this stupid?
Okay,
shit?
we're moving this. Some sort of fucking video game bullshit with X over here.
Also, just to mention, he was mentioning about the new NCAA game coming out on my birthday. Actually, I've heard that is a false rumor. They don't actually know exactly when the game's coming out yet.
Who cares when video games come out? Does anyone really care?
I was just updating. That's all.
Okay, so
Yes, I saw this. Yeah.
Now, do you remember just on Saturday we had to reschedule the Bills game due to potential safety issues with the very cold, snowy weather? We had to reschedule it. I just thought it was very interesting to show that 15 people were hospitalized for hypothermia and frostbite during the Dolphins and Chiefs wildcard game this Saturday. Huh. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Okay. We don't know who they were. We don't know if it was this imbecile here or anybody who's going there without a shirt. How stupid do you have to be? How drunk do you have to be? They said that that players had frostbite on the field. And I don't understand how many players did we see in that Saturday night game who were playing without sleeves on their arms? It's just dumb. It's dumb, stupid, dumbass football players mentality. That's just what it is.
Sleeves, baby. I agree. You should not wear sleeves. That's simple. That is something you should not do.
That tells you all you need to know.
Yes, I will say this here. You don't know who it is. That's right. If people are out there not wearing shirts and they catch hypothermia and frostbite, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. The important thing here is, though, right, if they were so concerned about the health, right, they shouldn't be playing in really cold games in either, I guess, because
I think some of those fans died too.
No, nobody died.
No, I don't think anyone passed.
Oh, I thought some of them died. Not bad.
No. But it's like, if you care so much,
they don't care about the people. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the players. They don't care about the referee. They don't care about anything except money. That's all they care about is the money. Nothing else. They don't care about anything else regarding the product, regarding the players, any of people in the stands. They don't give two craps about anything. Anytime you hear, remember when the biggest thing for years and years and years was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? All of a sudden, poof. Did you even hear about it this year? They just inserted some new social thing that they're covering. They don't care about any of it. So what? You cared for mothers for 10 years, and now you don't give a shit about them anymore. You care about whatever, runaway dogs or whatever the hell they did this year. I don't even know.
Look at the service dog, Grumpy. We talk about, they care so much about the player safety too. That was a big push. We care about the player safety. We want to make sure that we've got the concussion experts sitting up in the booth watching over, and if we see that there's possibly an issue where we feel like a player could be, could have an injury to his head or a blow to his head, that we were going to take him aside and go ahead and do our own measurements to make sure he's not hurt, like with Tua with the back injury last year. Remember that?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
I was about to say, I just wanted to show you. This is a clip that I want to show you, and we're going to take a little glance at.
Hold on, TJ. I've already sent this clip to Grumpy because he didn't believe me on something, and I already sent it to him. So he should already be aware of what clip is about to be shown.
But I was about to say here.
I think it's one when Matthew Stafford gets his bell rung.
Okay, let's just watch that.
Sorry, but
no, it's way more important than anything I was saying.
Yeah, Stafford, watch him here as he gets crushed by Hutchinson. Exposed shot, and then McNeil finishing.
We'll see it here.
Stafford, as he did for.
I'm gonna put it in slow motion so you could just see his. Oh, you know what? We'll play it live first. The first time.
Is that not helmet to helmet? Oh, he stepped on.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't think he stepped on him on purpose.
Okay, but still, it's a helmet to helmet. It's a penalty.
Well, I thought helmet to helmet. It does that little pausing thing. Whenever TJ puts something up there, just as the real action has, it pauses for some reason.
You have shitty internet. You have shitty internet. That is it. It's nothing else but that. Okay. You have terrible internet. I don't care about the helmet to helmet. Okay. You're speaking over me. It's because everything comes in delayed on your feed because you have bad internet. That's all right. You just need to unplug or replug the router in.
It's always pausing. Why is it always pausing?
Hit play.
Jesus Christ. This is the issue I have. I don't care about the hit. Look at the face on Matthew Stafford. Maybe he should have been sent the concussion protocol looked at. Maybe. What? I know it's slowed down, but this is not one where I'm like, was that Grump?
I think it's because he got stepped on.
Yeah, I don't think it's because he was stepped on. I mean, he just that's not one where I'm like, yeah, this guy's in good. He's literally just standing here like this. Remember, Tua had that.
Can I tell you how the concussion protocol works? In a big playoff game where you have a big name starter who gets his bell rung and gets a concussion, they wheel him in to the magical blue tent and they're like, get your ass back out there. He's fine. Because you know what they never do? They never talk about it after that. Ever. Oh, he's back. He's fine. They don't care about Matt Stafford. You know what they care about? Man, that game is close. Matt Stafford gives them the best chance of winning. If that's going to keep the people watching, keep that ad revenue up, we're all for it. Get him back out there. That's what the NFL thinks. They don't care about Matt Stafford. They could care less.
That was absolutely a helmet-to-helmet hit, by the way.
God damn it, nobody cares about whether it's helmet to helmet or not. We're trying to talk about the concussion. We're trying to tie this all together. X, what are you going to say? This had some sort of huge impact on the game. Helmet to helmet. That game would have given.
That's a roughing the passer penalty or targeting penalty. It's 15 yards.
I thought he looks like TJ when he was a wrestler.
Yeah,
counting the stadium lights.
Yeah, you know what he looks like? He looks like Tua when he was knocked unconscious.
Tua only had back pain. Come on, dude.
Okay, he didn't sit like this. You just paused it there. He wasn't like this.
Tua was like this. Tua was sitting like this.
The play stopped and everyone was moving and he's like this.
Okay. Grumpy, who's never had a concussion before and never been around them before, dude. You understand when you're getting concussed and you seize up like this and you're stuck. Tua missed months after that concussion. Okay, this is not as severe of a concussion, but it looks sure as hell like he should have been at least looked at for concussion protocol.
He just got stepped on. You stopped it as he's like this. He was moving the whole time.
X, are you? It's not because he got stepped on. Oh my God! Watch again, please, Grumpy.
Look at that. He's grimacing. He got stepped
on. Look at this. His eyes are already in the back of his head when he's down here when he hits the ricochet. Watch this. His eyes are already in the back of his head. Can you not see the darks of his eyes like this?
Oh my God.
I was going to say something else, but
they should have just toughened down. Steps on.
Look at this. It has nothing to do with him getting stepped on. His fingers is like this. His fingers like this. Even when he gets stepped on, they don't move.
Well, you're pausing it.
You wonder why he's playing the world's tiniest violin.
Look at him, still moving them all. He's moving them the whole time.
Is Grumpy doing this purposely? I can't tell because I'm not
watching fully through. Damn it! He was catching his breath.
Yeah, man, he's fine.
That's not what you think it is.
Yeah, look at him. He's a warrior. Look, he's like, see, he's not even complaining about his head. He's holding his chest.
It's a chest injury. He stepped on.
He's like, shit, man, that hurt when I got my shoulder stepped on.
I mean, what's wrong with you? Come on.
By 800-pounder.
Look at this. He's fine. They're asking how.
They should have checked out his brain after that one because
here's what I'm going to say: the concussion wasn't that bad if he wasn't thrown out there on the field.
There you go.
Get your ass out there, buddy.
Just a mild case of back pain.
It should have been targeting penalty, 15 yards, ejection. That's what it should have been.
Oh gosh. Well, I will say there are certain people who are taking player safety at the forefront of everything they do. I want right now. The Buccaneers are getting ready to play. The Buccaneers are getting ready to play the Lions this week, and there's a big concern, right? There's 15 people hospitalized due to hypothermia, and this reporter has a very, very good question about that cold Detroit weather.
Coach, looking forward towards Detroit. The weather.
Can you pause for a second?
In some of the playoff games, even for the most.
What, Grumpy? What, Grumpy?
I just want to let people know that this is a girl reporter.
Okay, thank you so much, Grumpy. You know what we need to do? We're very fucking close to mute Grumpy for a good solid 5-minute span is what we should do so he doesn't get to comment on this. Thank you, X, for muting him. I knew he was going to say something ridiculous. Just stay in your lane, Grumpy. Let me do what we do, okay?
Prepared teams. Today it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures we tend to drop to. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? They got a dome. No, nothing planned. We're indoors and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds getting off the bus going under the thing, so we'll be okay.
Good on Bulls for answering that question nicely because you definitely could have taken that a different route. But yes, there are some people who care about the potential hypothermia, even when we're going to be playing in a dome. I tell you one thing, whatever paper she works with did not do a good job because it's not like she just creates this question. They have multiple people think behind the questions they're going to ask to the head coach. And the question they had was like, we didn't even vet or figure out if Detroit plays in a dome or not.
He was great. Todd Bowles was great there because the whole time I'm hearing her talk about this, I'm like, how did she get in this building? Did you just walk in off the street? I mean, I didn't even understand. She obviously knows nothing about the game. Absolutely nothing. They've been playing inside a dome since 1979 when they had the Silver Dome. How do you not know that the game is indoors? I'm honestly was baffled. And he answered it really, really well, even though he did catch a little heat for saying, it was only 20 seconds off the bus until we get inside. And he did catch a little bit of heat for being sarcastic to her. Where if it was me, I would have said, do you even know where you are? How did you get into the building? Did you steal a press pass? I mean, that's the dumbest question I ever heard. And you think about, how do you think Bill Parcells would, or how do you think Parcells would have had something funny?
Belichick would have made it. I thought Belichick, this is how you respond.
We're on to Detroit.
They play in a dome. We're not going to be cold.
Playing
nice and heated. They play.
We're on to Detroit. On to Detroit.
But yes, I'm shocked he let her continue because I'm like, I would have been like, stop right there. I'm like, we're in a dome. We're playing in a dome.
Let's get some comments.
X, what's going on there, Comment King?
Honestly, that's a comment. Why did it take her so long to ask that question? I mean, it was a long time for her asking the question.
She was building up as to why she's asking it. It's been very cold around the entire U.S., and it's not as cold here as it is in a few other places, and it's 13 degrees right now in Detroit. Has there been any sort of special preparation you've done for the really cold weather that you're going to be experiencing in Detroit? It's going to be cold out there.
I think you all said, I think the thing is like 72 inside, something like that. So, I mean, it's like she wanted to be, it's about me. All she did was let people know she
Make
was
yourself
stupid.
look like an idiot.
I think they should have just put her face up here. Don't be this woman, whoever she is.
No, Grumpy. What they should have done.
Know your environment.
Grumpy's been muted.
All right, read this comment, Grumpy.
Grumpy was flashing 5 stars. The only thing that isn't 5 stars is TJ's internet.
No, it's his internet, Grumpy. His internet. Your internet is trash, Grumpy. Absolutely trash. Freeze warning, Grumpy old man.
Grumpy, in your prime, would you have rather gone to a game with over 3.5 feet of snow in blizzard conditions or a game with a minus 20-degree real feel? Snow. Always rather be in snow.
Why?
When it's really nasty and cold, cold is really uncomfortable. You can live with snow. I mean, that's why I was baffled by. I told you last week why the NFL did that, right? It was because they wanted 3 days of doubleheaders. They didn't give a shit. I mean, you looked at the stands. It was snow all in it. The Buffalo fans just stood the whole day anyway. They were rooting their team on. The field was in pristine condition. There was no problems in that stadium. Absolutely none. They could have played the game Sunday.
I think
you know how I know. You want to know how I know? I'm going to tell you how they know. The NFL.
You asked a question. You asked a question that you're just going to fucking answer anyway. You always do. But go ahead and answer your own question.
How do you know? How do you know?
The NFL went out of their way to say how this game never could have been played yesterday. They're so full of shit.
Okay, all I'm going to say is this: maybe they were talking about the commute and travel they thought was dangerous.
They don't give 2 shits.
Yet they had people commuting and traveling to shovel
about
snow.
The fans.
Here's my thing: yet they had people commuting and traveling fans to shovel snow for $20 an hour. So I guess they really didn't give a shit about them then, right?
And they're also saying that they're not even considering, even though they're going to have a bunch of snow this weekend, more than last weekend, they're not even considering pushing the game back this weekend.
Freeze warning, Grumpy.
Nottingham Forest and Everton hit with financial fair play charges and possible point deductions, even though Everton already had 10 points deducted early in the season. That's probably good news for Burnley. When will Man City get hit with penalties, and what will they be?
They're never going to be hit with financial. Go ahead, Grump.
Go ahead, TJ. Go ahead.
I was going to say, they're never going to be hit with financial fair play penalties ever from Man City. It's kind of similar to some things are always the same. Man City can violate the financial fair play issues, and Messi just steals awards all the time for fictitious, 6 penalty kick goals and in the World Cup and winning a World Cup. They can skirt the financial fair play issues the same way Messi gets handed awards. But go ahead, Grumpy.
I think what they've said is, I read an article in The Athletic that said that it was so pervasive in Man City that it's just so much bigger than what Everton and who was the other and Nottingham Forest. It was just so much bigger and so much in depth that they're still battling with how to figure out how they did everything. They're good at it.
If they were gonna do something, they would have already done it.
Here's the issue with Nottingham Forest. They're trying to say, they're just getting into the specifics. They're trying to say with their situation, you can't be over the way financial fair play works. You can't report a loss of over £250 million in a 3-year time frame. They did that, or 3 consecutive years with a loss. Nottingham Forest did that, but they said it was because they didn't want to sell Brendan Aronson before when his value was lower, and they sold him 6 months afterwards, but it was still in the same calendar year, but wasn't at the time period during the season. Or maybe it was the same season, but wasn't in the same count, whatever type of bullshit they're trying to use. And they weren't that far over. Everton might get popped again. And I mean, God, could you imagine they get like a 20-point deduction? Hard to stay afloat when
kids were outside the stadium with signs that said, "All I want for Christmas is Everton to get their points back."
Is that really what they said?
Yeah, they had signs. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it was like little kids. Yeah.
Oh my God, great! I love it. I like Everton too, because Sean Dyche, but
maybe it also has something to do with Manchester City is like the biggest club in England, or right up there with the biggest clubs in England, and it doesn't look good if they get popped. It's easy to pop a lesser team as opposed to maybe they're getting paid under the table from the Saudi oil consortium who owns Manchester City. Maybe they're making money under the table there.
Soccer is the most corrupt sport in the world, so I wouldn't doubt it.
That's true.
We have seen before in past, like for example, organizations and clubs bribing, voters for Ballon d'Or, organizers, etc., to help certain players win. I do have a clip and a montage, not sports related, but a clip and a montage, Grumpy, that I think you'll enjoy because it is pop culture related.
And the Oscar goes to
Lionel Messi.
Our third member of our top 20 is
Lionel Messi.
Look at here.
And the Grammy goes to
Lionel Messi.
Stealing all the awards.
Wow,
Grumpy, did you happen to see?
I did. It's FIFA giving him Player of the Year. I'm like, he wasn't even the best player on his team. He did nothing in 2023. Nothing. I mean, I mean, literally nothing. He played a couple of.
I'll give you the breakdown of how the award went, on how the voting went.
I don't even care about that.
won. Okay,
I don't care about that. All this does is it just makes any of these awards mean nothing, because anyone can look at what these players did for the season, just their generic stats, and just say, this guy did nothing all year, absolutely nothing for PSG, for the Hamburger League, nothing. He won a tournament playing the 50th or 500 ranked team in Mexico. I'm sorry. He just didn't. He's just. For me, it invalidates that award. It means FIFA means nothing. Means nothing. He's liked. They like him. They want to pump him up. That's all they want to do.
I like the little midget.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at with the breakdown of the award, but you didn't want to hear it. So
Grumpy doesn't want to hear
the details. You already told me the details. I don't need them.
Maybe Grumpy, because this is a podcast that not everybody maybe has heard about the details. Maybe that could provide context in the future.
Okay, why don't you just put them up on the screen then? You should have them ready to go.
Well, I don't have them ready to go, but
it's fine. We'll just move on to the next thing.
Look at this. Now you made X all upset.
X, go ahead. Tell us. I don't want you to.
It's fine. Let's just go on to the next topic.
X is going to cry himself to sleep tonight, Grumpy.
He does look like he wants to cry himself. Go ahead, X. I don't want to minimize you at all.
Here you go.
Yeah, so if you see the breakdown, the two categories that Messi won are player vote and fan vote. Fan vote.
Fan vote,
so AKA a popularity contest. A popularity contest. So nobody who has any impact on the sport at all voted for him more than Haaland. And Haaland won media and coach vote and somehow doesn't win the award.
Why is there even, I mean, I don't think this should have been then the People's Choice Awards,
right?
As opposed to,
or the ESPYs. Might as well be the F and ESPYs. Like, without the fan vote, Erling Haaland wins the award.
That's
so just
correct.
put that into perspective. Without the fan vote, Erling Haaland, without a vote for people who have absolutely no fucking impact on the game at all, Erling Haaland wins.
That's correct.
Why is media even voting?
They vote. They're the ones who vote for Ballon d'Or. Also, they use team captains as the tiebreaker. And two of the team captains who voted for it were actually Real Madrid players, which were Federico Valverde and Luka Modric. My thought process on this is Modric is paying FIFA back for the 2008 Ballon d'Or he didn't deserve to win, and this is his way for retribution. That's my thought process. They said, hey, guess what? Whatever. Okay, fine.
I like it. I like it, X. Don't let that
he's rabbit holing. Here's the thing. I've been exposed to this rabbit holing. I can't tell you how many times he's rabbit holing.
Keep it up, X.
I'm just saying without a useless fan vote, Erling Haaland wins the FIFA.
So you're saying that Modric was paying back FIFA from something that happened 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So in other words, so are you saying that they went to him Don Corleone style, where he said, one day I might ask you for a favor, and I know you're going to pay me back like the Don did for the guy right at the beginning of the first movie? Is that what you're saying? Kind of like that? And they said, I know you're going to do your Donna service. You got to vote for Messi. I mean, who are the captains? I mean, where are they?
Virgil van Dijk voted for him. Robertson, a lot of Liverpool players voted for him. I noticed that.
Well, they don't like Manchester. It's just ridiculous.
It's a popularity context. People are not happy. Man City builds a super team and they won the treble. I'm mad at Man City. I love little midget. That's all you need to know.
It's a lot. I think that's another thing. It's a lot of the players are pissed off because of Man City's success last year.
Yes.
And then having a financial fair play shit. So they said
Liverpool lost the last three. Liverpool's lost the last 3 Premier League titles to them. A lot of people, it's jealousy. And here's the thing: people love the little midget, and he's not playing in a league anymore. He's playing in the MLS. Yay! So you had a whole bunch of people starting to vote for him because he went to America. Simple.
Okay, to me, Manchester City was the best team in the world last year. I didn't have any problem with, but Messi, he played what? A few games at PSG where he was the second best player on PSG, and he goes to the MLS. That should Ronaldo had more goals than he did.
Ronaldo had the most goals in the world.
Well, why isn't he on that list?
Because he's not liked.
And he played for that shitty Man United team for a while where he was benched. He only played half the year.
That was in 2022. That wasn't even in 2023.
All right. It just, like I said, for me, the awards, when you vote like that, the awards mean nothing because it just made up.
Yep.
I don't.
The points are made up, or what do they say?
It's like whose line is it anyways, where the score, the points are made up and the score doesn't matter.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Good.
Another paperweight.
Yeah.
Added to.
See, now he's lost. He doesn't realize he's got to put some more comments up because he's down the rabbit hole now, very deep. I know. He's rabbit holing. He's rabbit holing.
Go ahead, Grump.
Here's a freeze warning once again. New Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork, hired on from Texas A&M. Bjork has fired coaches like Jimbo Fisher and Lane Kiffin at another school in the past. Is this a sign to come for Ryan Day? Well, I do want to say that they hired Bill O'Brien today to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. He left New England.
Yep. And there's comments about that also.
Joseph C. said, Bears are in a tough spot. Yeah, they can get a haul for that number 1 pick, but clearly Fields isn't the guy. If anything, Poles is just doing it to extend his tenure there with a new coach. They were better this year. They were 7-10, which is certainly better than they were last year. And I just think that, once again, Justin Fields, do I think Justin Fields is the greatest quarterback? No, he's not. But I think he's also been hindered and he's not tremendously accurate. Now, there are times when he looks really good. I just think when you're playing with a different head coach or a different OC every single year, it just stunts your development as a player. That's all I think.
Here's the thing. Fields blows. The team is going to make the wrong decision on the quarterback, and that's going to be a problem. Freeze warning.
Alabama fans encouraging folks to take their 10% church ties and use them towards the football program. Are you kidding me?
Jeez.
Times getting desperate in Tuscaloosa. The transfer portal killing them too, with Downs and Bond leaving. I think that's part of the thing that drove Saban away as well. He was very vocal about NIL. It didn't give him the advantage of doing it illegally all those years.
Here's the thing. They've got a new coach, and the guy's a West Coast guy. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of the hire first take. It smells of things that can fail. He'll never be able to bring in the same exact recruits the same way Nick Saban did. Nick Saban has a lot more cachet than DeBoer does. But go ahead, X. You want to interrupt?
I was going to say another thing about about Washington football team. Apparently, right now they currently have no players on offense returning at all. No starters.
They were a veteran-laden team. They had a lot of guys who were seniors, and that's why they were good offensively.
I just thought that was crazy.
A lot of their not the quarterback excluded. Their skill position guys all left early.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I'll say here is this. Again, I was going to make a point of he's a West Coast guy. He's coached exclusively on the West Coast, I believe, and now he's going to coach in the Southeast. It's a big difference. You're pitching to kids different. You're talking to different kids that you probably aren't recruiting out there in Washington that now you're trying to recruit to here. Who knows? You'll see what the guy's worth, if he's worth his weight in gold or not. I just think he's had a really short sample size. Dan Lanning turned down the job from Oregon, and I think that he would have been a really good fit for them, a fantastic fit.
He was not the first guy they offered. They offered him before the bowl season even started. This guy. I mean, I think you're mistaken.
Kalen DeBoer was offered before the bowl season started, so he was offered a job before Thanksgiving.
He was offered a job before the playoffs. He interviewed before the playoffs started.
Well, no. He interviewed before the college football finals, Grump. You're mixing them up.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing. They offered Dan Lanning the job. He turned it down. This is a guy
I didn't hear that they offered Dan Lanning the job.
They absolutely offered Dan Lanning a job. I'll pull it up. This just
I didn't even freaking leave, but 2 weeks ago. As soon as Saban left, DeBoer was hired the next day.
Sioux Falls, coaching at Sioux Falls, Fresno State in Washington. Think about this. You want to look at a guy who has bust potential as a coach written all over him. Look no further. Coached at an NAIA school for 5 years. Then he goes through a time period from 2009, and then he starts going as an OC in Eastern Michigan, Fresno State, Indiana. He then goes to a head coach. First year, 2 years under Fresno State and 2 years under Washington. I'm telling you, I'm going to be here for 4 years before I'm canned.
Okay, here's my thing. I don't understand how you can say that he's done a shitty job. He just brought his team to the national championship.
Here's the thing. That team was not good. I've told you that before, and I'll tell you it again.
They made it to the national championship, dude.
A lot of fortunate things went their way. This guy will flop at Alabama.
Yeah, fortunately, yeah. He struck gold 2 times beating Oregon. You're right.
He'll flop.
Dan Lanning was not offered the Alabama job. He took himself out of any job by saying he wanted to stay at Oregon. So he was not offered the Alabama job. You were wrong.
Guess what?
He was not offered the Alabama job. That's what I'm guessing.
Oh,
He's not offered the Alabama job. You said he was. He absolutely was not.
Here's the thing. They want to interview him.
This guy was offered. This guy was offered.
Let me ask you this, Grumpy. Do you usually want
to turn down Alabama for Oregon? Okay, sure. Thanks.
Are you listening to the Grumpy? You didn't listen to me?
No offer was made.
Okay, Grumpy. Let's we don't have to beep button. But here's the thing, Grump, real quick. If you're gonna say, hey, are you just usually interview people for shits and giggles if they're not in serious consideration?
They didn't interview him. They did not interview Dan Lanning.
They wanted to interview him. He said he wasn't open to be interviewed. He was happy where he was.
He told everyone when there's rumors were swirling that he would leave. I just looked it up because you're so full of shit. You're playing a Phil's fact trick right now. It says he ended all speculation by saying he was staying at Oregon. He was not even considering anywhere else. That's what he said.
Okay, let's get to the next comment. Come on.
Yeah, let's get to the next comment. Drake May looks like he is the most ready to play, but I don't know if any quarterback in this draft is a franchise guy. You could say that about every single year that quarterbacks are drafted. Look at the last 5 years. How many guys have been really, really good who've been drafted in the first round? Not too many, right? And who would you say is good? Joe Burrow, right? He's been good. But
Josh
look at
Allen.
I think Josh Allen's more than 5 years.
He's not.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, we can pull that up. But I mean, even in the Burrow draft, Herbert's been okay. They don't win. I think that's more the head coach. Two has been a bust. Yeah. You had the year with Trevor Lawrence, who's been okay.
Mac Jones bust. Justin Fields bust.
Trey
Zach
Lance
Wilson bust.
God damn, you guys cannot speak over each other. Nothing comes through. Okay, continue.
I hate when you do that fake laugh. It makes me want to slap you.
I just don't understand how we don't just speak it.
That's what it sounds like. It's terrible.
It pisses me off to no end how you guys can't just speak in turns.
And when you do that fake laugh, it pisses me off.
Because he's a tyrant. He wants everything his way.
Yeah, there you go.
Long story short, most quarterbacks, even ones who were drafted in the first round, bust out. And particularly now because the college just plays in such a wide open system that you really don't know what's what until they get into the pros. It's a totally different game.
Did you say Trevor Lawrence is a bust to you?
No, I just think that he's been up and down as well.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough.
His first year he sucked. Then he had the second year he played well, and then this year he was abysmal. Oh, I mean, not abysmal, but he wasn't good. He was injured. I know, but he wasn't good. He wasn't good.
And Jacksonville fell apart down the stretch. And, it's like, okay, is that because of his injury or whatever? But he wasn't as good this year. Last year, I thought he was good. And the first year was a write-off. Drew says, well, apparently it just came out that Belichick wanted to trade Mac Jones, but Robert Kraft said no and vetoed his trade. The actual story is he went to Kraft and said, hey, if we can, would you want to move him? And he said no. So then Belichick brings in Matt Patricia, formerly defensive coach, and Joe Judge to work with them. He starts going backwards. This year was even worse when Robert Kraft made Belichick hire Bill O'Brien as offensive coordinator. The team just totally tanked offensively, which led to his departure. They had an introductory press conference yesterday with new head coach Gerard Mayo, who's only coached football, period, 5 years. And he was named, head coach of the New England Patriots. And they were talking about a lot of woke shit in that press conference, which I'm like, why are you even talking about this? And they asked Gerard Mayo what his...
Don't worry, I did it for you.
No, you can.
What he was going to do with the offense, and he just went on. He didn't even say. It's like he didn't know what he was going to do on offense. Didn't even talk about it. He's like, "Well, I like my quarterback. You got to get in the weight room. That's important. You got to be in good shape." So he was taking shots at Mac Jones, who was at the press conference, and they asked him because he left the Patriots employ for a while to go work at another Robert Kraft company. And they said, why did you go work for this company? He said, I needed to get away from Bill for a while. So he's burying Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. The only thing that the Patriots have done this offseason is get rid of Bill Belichick. Now, if you're asking me who's a better head coach right now, it's Bill Belichick over Gerard Mayo. They don't even have a general manager. I don't know what they're doing over there. They're a team that's I think they're in for some hard times.
The one thing I want to mention here, it looks like, by the way, little Belichick, Steve Belichick, was still offered a job or still has a spot there with the Patriots if he would like to, and so does the other son, Brian Belichick. Now, as to what's going to happen with that, your guess is as good as mine, but the thought process is that he's still going to be on as a defensive coordinator. That possibly makes sense. Yep. And
they didn't say DC. Just return to the state.
It would make sense. I just said it would make sense. It would make sense that he would still remain as a DC. What you think you're going to offer? Like realistically, if you say, hey, you were the defensive coordinator, but we'll let you stay on staff if you're going to be a linebackers coach, and then we're going to cut you, we're going to demote you. Well, why would he not just follow his dad, who gave him the DC job, and go ahead and take another one with the Atlanta Falcons when he goes ahead and goes there?
Because he's got young children, and maybe he wants to stay in the area, or maybe he does go with his dad. Because the latest thing I heard is Belichick is having a second interview with Atlanta. He likes the fit there. And he has a general manager that he's familiar with. He would bring all his guys with him. So a lot of guys would leave that staff. And then it's like, once again, Gerard Mayo, how many, how many, how head coaches have a whole bunch of assistants lined up, or they have, they know so many people. If you've only been,
they've got a coaching tree to work from.
Or they know a lot of coaches, guys to bring in. I mean, I don't know if he knows anyone outside of the Patriots organization. If everybody from the Patriots left, Bill O'Brien's gone. The rumor is Josh McDaniels would go with Belichick. There'd be a lot of those coaches who would go with Belichick to Atlanta. I mean, I just think it's interesting. I just think that it's going to be problematic for New England, and the Crafts want to get involved as part of who make decisions for the team. I think that's a recipe for disaster.
All right, Grumpy, next comment.
Grumpy
Joseph C.
going down
says,
the rabbit hole and the Patriots over there.
Joseph C. says, don't know why Bill would go to the Falcons unless they move up to in the draft. They'd be stuck with Ritter and Heineke at quarterback. Or Kurt, who's the guy from Minnesota?
You
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk
How about they
Cousins.
trade Kirk Cousins?
Or
Or free agent?
He's a free agent, and he came out tonight and said that he would love to play for Bill Belichick. There you go. That solves your quarterback problem. You can also draft.
Chains, baby, going down to Atlanta.
I mean, just think about that. That's what they need, right? I mean, I think Atlanta, that's a good spot for him, right? It's a weak division, with the exception of Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And maybe, this is something he's looking to do.
Let's continue along here, Grump or X. Freeze warning.
Bill O'Brien joining Ohio State as OC. Not sure how much of OSU's defense is leaving, but they'll have Ibuka, Will Howard, Trevion Henderson, Judkins coming back, and possibly Stover. Eichenberg may return. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think too much.
Freeze one, he says, if Ohio State can't beat Michigan and compete for the Big Ten title, day is gone. Too many weapons and depth to not succeed. Everyone's flying out of Michigan now. You're seeing all their skilled players go.
Don't blame them either.
So what happens when you lose your coach? Or going to be losing your coach.
Yes.
Yep. Drew says, I slightly disagree. Is Kyler a franchise QB? No, he's not. But he also had no weapons this year outside of Trey McBrown. I expect the Cardinals to be much better this upcoming season. Okay. Nice point, Drew. Jeb Fish, who was just like a quarterback coach 2 years ago, is now the head coach of the Washington Commanders. And he brought all of the offensive assistants in Arizona with him to Washington. So you have Arizona, who has to rebuild their whole coaching staff on offense this offseason. I'm sure they were not expecting that to happen.
I'm shocked that kid was hired. He's a kid too. I'm shocked that kid was hired as a head coach. I don't get it. That's the way the league's going to. Young, greatest supermind genius that we need to bring in. That's going to revolutionize what we do. And it's just dumb.
McDaniels 2.0.
I don't know if it's McDaniels 2.0, but you got new ownership there, right?
I'm saying the mindset of hiring young coaches.
Okay. Well, McDaniel's not young anymore. So
he's talking about Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, the coach for
I thought he said Josh.
McDaniel. Sorry, McDaniel. I messed his name up. The head coach for the Dolphins.
Okay. I don't understand what even qualified him to be a head coach, honestly. But for Arizona, how can you let him take everyone from the offensive staff? I mean, everyone? How does that happen? I mean, I realized that their head coach was the defensive guy for Philadelphia, but it's like you lost every coach off the offense, the whole staff. How is it possible? And again, what knowledge does he have in bringing in offensive assistant coaches? He better learn fast because they have no one there now.
Okay, here's the point I'll bring up to that. Maybe they weren't happy and enamored with how the offense did anyway, and they said, "Fine, that's okay with a break. We're happy with that. We're not upset about it."
But they were good when Kyler Murray came back.
They were not good when Kyler Murray came back.
Oh, can we get to the next comment? Y'all are going to argue about this for 4.5 hours.
Please.
Just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers from beginning of year.
We did.
Gungun says, Son X, last night there was a new catchphrase to be added to the Islanders Never Say Die TJ and Grumpy Old Man lore. Kuhu. To be added to DB Cooper, Al, and Schlemiel. We would have let TJ read this, but it would have taken 15 minutes. It was Koho. Koho, which is a stick manufacturer for hockey back in the day, and TJ called it Kuhu for some reason.
Alrighty there. Keep it quiet there, Al. Okay.
Gosh. Oh, that's right. Grumpy thought AI was that.
Remember, it was a lower. First of all, It was lowercase. It was a lowercase L. Looked like Al. Always looks like Al. Next comment, please.
Alrighty there. Keep it calm there, Al.
Salute to
HB Carlos.
DJ and X. Thank you, Carlos.
Thanks, Carlos.
Yep. Gungu says former NHL player Tony, I can't even chokes, saves a choking person's life in the press box. Thanks, Tony. Good job.
I do want to show this. Speaking about hockey, man, oh man, this feels like many moons ago. This highlight reel was created. One of the greatest, I would say, at least in the last 2 decades, the greatest highlights, hockey highlights in quite. I mean, it's up there. I'd say it's top 10 in the last 20 years. I'll let you watch it here. This is by good old Rick Nash, by the way.
Outlet pass for Rick Nash. Nash now tries to slip to the fence and walk in. Nice move. Another nice move. He scored. What a goal. It doesn't get any better than this. Rick Nash, how do you do?
Best goal I've seen Rick Nash score in his career. He takes a chip pass inside, outside on the defenseman again, and then the whole 10 or nothing left. Wow!
A bound and determined Rick Nash. Take a look at this from ice level. Remember, it was Rick Nash who went off for high sticking, allowing Hensel to tie it up. Pekka.
I mean, unbelievable play there. I almost.
Why are we showing 15-year-old highlights?
16.
You can't find a current highlight.
Well, that was a Rick Nash.
Grump. Were you not in awe watching that? That happened 16 years ago.
Why don't you show Bobby Orr scoring the winning goal in 1970 Stanley Cup? Why don't you show that one? No one's seen that one before.
That video clip is on a meme. The ones, have you seen the ones where it's like when I'm 9 deep and I'm playing like backyard football with my kids and I turn into prime Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Or something like at my kid's birthday party. They had that one. It's like when I'm 9 deep and I'm playing stick hockey at the house with my kids. I turn into prime Rick Nash.
It's exact. Here's the thing. Grumpy is all upset. We could go look down about fights that happen that you can't see anything on when they throw at guys where they get into a tussle on the field. But God forbid we show one unbelievable Rick Nash highlight that took 15 seconds and we hear from fucking Grumpy, the king of going back to the annals of many years ago. That's what we have to deal with here.
All right, let's get more comments.
You realize the things that I mentioned for you to bring up are in response to direct comments. No, I didn't see any Rick Nash anything.
Speaking of the devil, here's the comment. Let's read it.
Gungu says, do you fierce fighters think that Lou Lamoriello is so old that he still uses telegrams and fax? No. He uses carrier pigeon.
Oh, yes, I beat you, Grump. I beat you.
Maybe, you know what we could do next? Maybe we could pull up the Joe Turkey's hit on Terry Bradshaw.
And Pony Express. That's right.
Pony Express.
Carrier pigeon and Pony Express.
Yeah.
And his watch is a sundial.
Oh, good gracious.
Freeze Warning says, how many big name players have left MLS on bad terms after just 6 months? People don't enjoy the language barrier, breathing in sand, rules regarding women, no matter how much money. Saudi exodus just beginning. I think one guy is left. One guy. And he wasn't very good. He played for Liverpool. How good could he possibly be?
One backup on Liverpool left to go to the Saudi League and was I start some games, I don't others. Jordan Henderson left. And guess what? They already brought in Renee Lodi. Oh no, they're bringing more people. The exodus begins.
He went to Ajax, which is just Ajax is just, I mean, I have to say it's better than the Burger League, but it's one of the lower leagues. And it's honestly, it's like a feeder program now. That's what
it's a Dutch league.
I think you're going to see a lot more people go to the Saudi League this offseason with them increasing the number of foreign players that can play on teams.
From 8 to 10, that's correct.
Yeah, it was one guy who was salty because he was playing like shit, so he decided to leave. That's it.
How many? There's 8 players now? We're allowed on team?
It's up to 10.
It's 8. It's being moved to 10. It's not there yet, but it's being moved to 10.
Next year, it's 10.
Okay. I thought it was only 5 now. I didn't even realize it was 8.
No, it was 8. They moved that to 8 this year. Now it's a 10.
Yep.
Next year.
And then it'll be a full team, 11.
Drew says, I swear, whenever a question is asked, TJ always tries to do some mental gymnastics instead of just answering the question. That's true.
That's true.
Very true. How true is it, X?
Very true.
Damn
So
true.
true. So true. You couldn't handle the truth. That's how true it is.
Let me ask you a question. What would Kurt Angle say about that?
I don't know.
It's true. It's damn true. Gungun says, Son X, Grumpy said last night that Dog Z does not follow any instructions or directions, only if food is involved. Do you agree or disagree with this cutting comment?
He does sometimes follow instructions, but he's way more motivated when food is involved.
Let me ask you this: being his owner. Speaking of fucking mental gymnastics over here, X. You know, I'm just gonna say that we need to start having a fair judge because he's doing some mental gymnastics. If you're his owner, how often do you listen to him if you say do this, do that without food involved? Does he listen?
Sometimes.
If he thinks there might be food involved, if X goes like this to him and you say sit, he'll think that's food. That's tricky.
That's what you gotta do.
That's cool.
You go like
That's
this.
cool.
This is how you trick the dog.
Like he's got food in his hand. He'll sit. He only
That's
does it if
him
he knows he
dog.
can get food. He's disgraceful. I love him to death, but come on, he's undisciplined. I didn't say he wasn't a good boy. I just said he's undisciplined.
He's a good boy.
Frank says, "Hello, Big Three. Hello, audience."
What's up, Frank?
What's up?
Joseph C says, "Think there is a real chance the Texans upset the Ravens this weekend? That's the most intriguing game, in my opinion."
The
No.
Bills Chiefs is the most intriguing game. I would say
That's the best game of the weekend, without a doubt.
the Ravens are really good. Is Mark Andrews back this week officially, or is he questionable?
I don't think you put him on that little practice thing where he can practice unless he's ready to go.
True.
I think yes, the Houston Texans will and can beat the Ravens.
Do you think they're going to beat the Ravens? Let me put it to you that way.
We're gonna discuss that when we do our picks. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Go ahead,
fine.
though.
Gungun says, could a deal be worked out between Phil's Facts and the Islanders Never Say Die to grant him access to Twitter, even if the Islanders come up short? Everyone has a price or no dice. No. You make a bet. Hey, you spin the wheel, make a deal. No. James F says, sorry, Grumpy. TJ was right. Your microphone was crap. Next time, turn off the fan.
Yeah, that's right, Grumpy. He keeps calling me crazy. And here's the thing: the reason why we have discohesion is because Grumpy's internet is awful. If Grumpy had cleaner internet, we'd not have any talking over. Grumpy, you need to unplug the router.
Everything is my fault. Everything. Here's the thing: I just ignore it now.
Grumpy, I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like you're underwater when you talk.
I'm not using the microphone anymore.
That's what you used to sound like, X. I love how X is doing this shit, but until I gave him a mic, it was the same shit.
I'm not even using your microphone. I'm using the microphone that's built into the computer.
There you go.
Oh my god!
Do I sound like I'm underwater?
Why is the microphone not plugged up, Grumpy or X?
It's just not.
Why not X?
It's not.
What the fuck? This microphone thing that I give you, it's not a part-time thing. You plug it in and use it every time you get to the show. It's like walking out of the house.
Read the effing comment. God damn.
Drew says, I don't think the Giants have enough talent on the team on the offensive side of the ball to make their next quarterback pick succeed. I'd rather have them pick at 6 or have them trade down. I just don't think that's the mentality of the GM and the coach. The GM and the coach have a short lifespan, particularly the coach. If they go in the tank again next year because we don't have a quarterback, you got Danny Dimes in there for another year. He has to play next year. But after that, you can cut him loose without big ramifications to your salary cap. It was, in essence, a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
What are you smirking about there, X?
Nothing. I read a funny comment that's going to be coming up later in this show. It's funny. It's about me. I find it funny. I find it funny.
I know you're able to laugh at yourself. Google says, "What if the viewers demand Son X's it's X time shirts and tchotchkes?"
I would have to probably the logo on the shirt would be like the D-Generation X, like.
No, I think what we're trying to say is TJ just doesn't want to do other shirts like the Islanders Never Say Die logo shirt or the cul-de-sac crew shirt, and now it's X time shirt. See, these are the type of things. They're more entertaining shirts.
Grumpy, with how busy your schedule is, maybe you can forefront that and get that done for us. Don't you think maybe you could take on that responsibility, Grumpy?
Grumpy's not a graphic designer. You cannot do that.
I'm not a graphic designer.
Grumpy just
Johnny
like
Mac
saying,
says,
here you go, TJ, take care of this for me.
Johnny Mac says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Johnny
Good
Mac.
evening. Good
Hope
evening.
everyone's doing well.
TJ, he just wants to keep you busy. That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
He just wants you to fall
Drew
into
says-
any bad things or bad habits.
Drew says, why did NBC cut out Stroud's Live for Jesus? It's because NBC is one of the most woke networks in America outside of CNN, and the hard wokiest hate Jesus. That's true. I don't think.
All right, let's Grumpy, let's not get on your grandstand.
Goon says, Sonic has recently released their new peanut butter bacon cheeseburger. Who's in? Well, that's a TJ. Look at him. Any food? Ooh, his name might as well be Brother Z, because that's the way TJ, man, he likes to eat any damn thing. He's like, well, you what, TJ? Sit, TJ. Whoop, 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 and just give him a little food. Who's in? Who's out? Anyone want to twist and shout? TJ, you're in that for that, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
maybe
shit.
here's the thing, Grumpy. If that would help your internet connection, you getting one of those a day, maybe we'd have to just buy one and throw it in a trash can for you to get better internet, Grumpy. But I'm on no as of right now.
I don't think that's the way internet works.
I don't know.
Next comment, please.
Sacrifice, Grumpy.
Then to piggyback on Drew's earlier comment, they can take a quarterback next year if they suck that bad. But the most important thing is to get assets and talent for the quarterback. You never know when you're going to be picking that high again. That's the issue.
Yep.
Johnny Mac says, Grump, get that Auburn t-shirt out. Auburn's 13th ranked. I will wear it. Absolutely.
There it is. I'll post up a few comments here. X has got to go ahead and run out there. Goon, Grumpy.
TJ and Son X, let's skip down memory lane. What was a memory of your childhood that showed Grumpy had a heart of gold and did a flagrantly kind act?
To others?
Really?
To us, yes. To others, I'm not sure there's like one of those, like, to us, to family, absolutely. But to non-family members, I'd say probably not. I'd say maybe what he does still now, I mean, like even just doing the shows that he does so often, I think I'd say that's, I like Grumpy doing the shows. I think it helps keep him mentally strong and good things like that. So I think that shows he's got what Grumpy? You don't agree with me?
I don't think you actually understand the question.
Grumpy, I'm not sure you ever did an act
You're saying
outside
this show
of,
keeps you mentally active? Is that what you're saying?
I do think that, yes.
What does that have to do with the heart of gold?
You did things for us always and sacrifice for X and I. I'm not sure there was like heart of gold, like acts of like charity, acts of items like that were not tied specifically to us. I'm not sure there were many of those. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
How would you know what acts of kindness? Because you know what? A true act of kindness and someone who does true acts of kindness doesn't go politicking for any type of, hey, this is what I did to help this person.
That's absolutely correct. So
I've had people come up to me. And you don't realize the impact you have on people. And
I think coaching and items like that is probably where your acts of kindness would be, and helping in that area. I think that's probably where your acts of kindness would be, Grumpy.
I've had people come up to me, kids that I coached 15 years ago, and come up and say, oh, thank you so much. You were great, blah, 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 whatever. And I even had parents come up and say something that I did for them, for their child, really, they remembered. I'm like, oh, really? Well, no problem there. So
you never coached any of the sports I played?
I did.
What sports did you coach that I played?
I coached your soccer team.
Oh, I stopped playing soccer at like 10, 11 years old.
Yes. when you moved
I was
into
about to
middle
say,
school.
I feel like for X you had like much more coach. Yeah, I mean, because it was more of like the baseball, and you did more of like baseball. So like for me, it was I didn't play those sports that you coached really all that. I mean, like I really don't remember much when I was that young, 8 or 9 or 10 years old. The weird thing, the only thing I remember from playing soccer was when I drilled that kick into the keeper and he jumped on my leg and I got blood clots in my leg. That is, and I remember
You didn't have
Grumpy.
blood clots in your leg.
Remember what I fucking remember? Do you want to remember what I remember? There was a game. Was it the championship or the semifinal game, Grumpy, when our team was pretty good? Which one was that? And we had it went down to penalty kicks. Do you remember this one? And Grumpy was over here. Grumpy was telling me, but mind you, I was like 9 years old or 10 years old at this time period.
Don't kick it right at him.
Don't kick it right at him. I'm like, I want you. Grumpy says, you look nervous. Motherfucker saying, you
I
look
never said that. I never
Yes,
said that.
you
I never
did.
said that.
Yes,
I
you
said,
did.
no. I said, don't kick it right at him. So what does TJ do? Kicks it right at him because that's typical TJ in a nutshell.
And guess what? I fucking scored, Grump. I scored, Grumpy. That's all I gotta say.
It's because it
Here's
was
the thing.
raining.
Grumpy was
and
not a
it's-
man. Grumpy was a good job of trying to get in your head and fuck you up before when you were doing something like that. That's what I remember from my soccer days. Hitting that right down the pipe, Grumpy, and getting injured on one of those too. That's what I remember from soccer and having a good time running around. I really don't remember much from soccer days.
First of all, you don't remember anything about anything. Do you remember when I used every single Friday I would pick you up from school and I would
Mint
take you
chocolate
and
chip, yeah. How old
You
was
didn't
I? It
eat
was
mint
like
chocolate.
kindergarten, second grade, right?
It was, yes, you were in elementary school. That's right. And
I
would
don't
pick you
really
up.
remember that stuff all that well.
What a loser. What a loser.
Who can finally say they remember a whole bunch of their childhood from kindergarten and first grade? I don't.
I do.
Motherfucker, you do not
You're the
remember.
guy who did, you're the guy who didn't even remember which direction BJ's was from leaving the neighborhood, and you were 20 years old. You didn't even remember which
I thought it
left
was
or right.
22 is what you
BJ's.
said yesterday. I was 22, Grumpy. I thought it was what
No,
you said yesterday.
22 was when the plate video occurred. Another total blunder on your part, where the warden had to use some type of language that she never uses because TJ is enough to drive. TJ's enough to drive anyone freaking insane. When he comes and visits, none, thanks.
None.
When he
no
comes,
acts of kindness from this man ever.
When TJ comes to the house to visit, everything is chaos. Everything. He just comes in, drops his bag on the floor, leaves it on the floor. Everything's on the floor, and just everything is just chaotic. That's just the way he is. Chaos.
I don't know. Maybe we'll ask X when he comes back. Johnny Max says here, I almost need to shake things up and let Lane Lambert go. The team has no passion and energy. Yeah, I think they've given up on him. And it's not a coach problem, it's a player problem.
Time to get rid of the players.
James Farrell, Grumpy.
Dallas making a huge mistake on bringing back McCarthy. I was stunned, honestly, that they're bringing him back. Jerry Jones is losing it. He needs to let go of the GM job. Well, as long as he's owner, he's keeping that GM job. And his son is director of pro player personnel. How does that work? Go figure.
Speaking of this, I did think it was odd. Mike McCarthy keeps his freaking job. Blown away. I love the Stephen A. Smith. He tweeted out this face. Oh, man. Now, something I find funny, since 2000, the New York Jets have more postseason wins than the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys only have 4 postseason wins since 2000. In the last 24 years, think about that. They only have 4 postseason wins. They have not been to a single conference championship either.
Yeah, I know. They're habitual losers at this point. Mike McCarthy is not he had to go. I'm stunned he brought him back. I'm really shocked at that.
I have to assume there's a very short leash for him.
He's got one more year on. He's a lame duck coach.
Oh, I do have something I want to talk about. Oh, for a potential very coincidental referee selection upcoming that I can't wait to share with you guys for big upcoming games this weekend. But we're going over the divisional rounds. They go ahead and they break down each quarterback that's, quarterbacking their team and where they were selected. And just like you'll see, every single quarterback, 7 of the 8 quarterbacks were a first-round pick.
Except for Purdy, who plays in the most quarterback-friendly offense in the league.
Yes, with some of the best weapons in the league. And I'll take it one step further. If you look even closer, and I'm going to zoom in here on this, Grumpy, so you're hopefully able to see it a little better. When we look here, and more specifically, like, hey, how many of these quarterbacks were drafted outside the top 10? Well, only 3 of those 8 quarterbacks were not drafted as a top 10 selection. You take it one step further. Yeah, I mean, 3 of the 10 quarterbacks weren't top 10. I mean, it just tells you if you're going to build a successful team, you have to bottom out. You have to get a legitimate quarterback, and you have to hit on one of those QBs you selected as a top 10 pick. That's the only way to be a successful team and have a real chance to win a Super Bowl.
That's why you continually, if you're picking in the top 10 every year, if you have to cycle through quarterbacks because the guy's not good enough, you do it to hope that, I mean, nobody felt Patrick Mahomes was going to be as good as he is.
Yes.
Playing for Texas Tech. They played in that wide open system in the Big 12 conference at the time. And I mean, they traded up a long ways to get him at 10. Kansas City did. The same thing with Josh Allen. He was from Wyoming. He was like raw as you could see, but you could tell he had a cannon. Look at how many years it took him to turn into something good. Baker Mayfield. Okay. What's the problem with Baker Mayfield? Again, another guy who's had 8 different head coaches and different offensive coordinators every single year. That's why he hasn't developed. Good for him. I'm rooting for him this Sunday. Jared Goff, right? Flamed out with the Rams. Got to a Super Bowl. Congrats to him. It was a big deal for him beating the Rams this week. I'm rooting for him also. Jordan Love has looked really, really good. I think it'll be different against the 49ers this week. Purdy is the definition of a game manager. Lamar Jackson has actually turned into a quarterback this year as opposed to a runner who's just a great athlete with a good arm. He's been much, much better. He'll be league MVP. CJ Stroud has looked really good this year for a rookie. I mean, you got to develop those guys. That's just what you have to do.
But I think this just speaks volumes and even if like you're the Bears, you're like, oh, should we go ahead and draft again at a quarterback or should we put some pieces around us? Or the Giants, if a quarterback's there, should we trade up? Should we draft a quarterback? The answer is absolutely yes. The likelihood that you're going to find a QB inside the top 10 that pans out, some of them do, some of them don't. But the ones that you draft outside the top 10 have a very low likelihood of being the guy. I mean, that's just about as simple as it gets. And I'm not even sure I'd classify Jordan Love as the guy just quite yet. Or even like, you don't know that on CJ Stroud. It's the list goes on, but you have to have a good, competent quarterback in order to be successful in the league, in order to win a Super Bowl.
True.
X, the question when you were gone was, what acts of kindness showed that Grumpy has a heart of gold?
When he stood up to that woman who treated me like trash at Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Texas Roadhouse. I also
did call that an act of kindness, X. Why don't you break down what happened?
He's being kind to me. He's being kind to me.
Why don't you break down what happened and talk about that act of kindness?
Well,
and I helped. I helped that woman out. I helped because she was a little bit clueless to what her daughter is turning into. So I just wanted to help her out with that.
I think what happened was, well, I'll keep it as PG as possible. Have I told this story on the pod?
No,
you
absolutely not.
Okay. Well,
it's not one where it makes Grumpy look good, but it makes Grumpy look exactly like how you would expect Grumpy to look in real life.
So why don't you tell the story about the lady in the mall when you were wearing that Yankee shirt?
I don't even really remember that one. I remember the one at Texas Roadhouse more than I remember the other one.
Okay.
Why don't you tell the Texas Roadhouse story?
I'll tell the Texas Roadhouse story. So I just gotten done with a baseball tournament, and we decided we were going to go stop somewhere and eat. We decided to go to Texas Roadhouse. The warden and Grumpy were both with me. TJ was not with us. He was at home eating or something. So they had to go to the bathroom because they hadn't gotten a chance to go to the bathroom during the games. I was like, that's fine. They had this rule at Texas Roadhouse where the bar is like in the bar area, it's first come, first serve. so anybody can claim seats. So I'm, standing there waiting for a seat to pop up. I see a seat pops up, and I go and I sit down. Lo and behold, some lady sits down in the same exact seat that I sat down in, and I'm young at the time, so I'm just like, "Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Like, it's first come, first serve here. It's what they told us up at the front. I went ahead and sat down here first, so this should be our seat." No, it's not. Nope, this is our seat. And she called her entire group and her family over there, and I was like, okay, well, I guess there's nothing really that I can do. So I ended up getting kicked out of the seat. Grump came out of the bathroom, and he's like, "What happened?" Because he could tell that I was like kind of upset. And I was like, this lady just kind of like kicked me out of the seat that I was waiting there to sit down in. And then the warden comes out of the bathroom, and she says in her New York accent, "What happened? What's the matter? What's the matter? What happened?"
What's the
and
matter?
Then Grumpy says, "Some see you next Tuesday just stole the seat at the bar from Nick." And this old lady comes up from behind him and says, "That's my daughter you're talking about." And Grumpy says, "I see the apple doesn't fall far from the tree."
Yes, that is a quintessential Grumpy moment of kindness, golden heart Grumpy moment.
You must be so proud. You must be so proud. There was my act of kindness. Your daughter's a see you next Tuesday, just like you.
How
He was
kind.
being kind to me. He had my back.
What a golden heart Grumpy's got. Drew L
No,
says,
I'm going to tell the one when we were in the mall and Nick was, X was young.
God damn, Grumpy. How many more fucking times you going to screw that up, Grump?
Every
Probably
single time.
Every single time. Well, X was like maybe 9 or 10, young. He was wearing a jersey. And some old skag came up to him and said, "Hey, how'd those Yankees do this year?" And they had lost to the Red Sox. It was whenever they lost to the Red Sox. So
I think I was wearing the shirt that said "Got Rings" on it, is what it was.
No, it was not. It was a Yankees jersey.
Oh, okay.
And
all right.
It was a Jeter jersey. And
okay,
she was getting in his face. "Well, yeah, well, the Red Sox beat them, and they won the World Championship." And you were like, oh, Yankees.
Is that what I did?
Typical You're humping like an absolute bitch, per usual.
No, here's the thing. X, let me tell you something. X was both of my kids when they were young were very well behaved. They're freaking animals now. But X is better than TJ. TJ's a lost cause.
That's right.
But X he's still really good like that. But I said, "You know what, man? I am so glad that you were able to live long enough to see the Red Sox win a championship, because at your advanced age, I don't know how much time you got left." And she was like, "Boop, boop, 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 boop." I said, "Let's go, X." That's that.
Look at that. Another act of kindness. One of the many
I was
acts of
kind to her. Again, I'm glad she lived long enough to see the Red Sox win. There you
Actually,
go.
you know what happened? I think Grumpy got a Nobel Peace Prize for that, actually.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Acts of kindness. They abound. I'm
not only X,
throwing
but
away
the rest of the
kindnesses.
world.
I'm throwing away kindnesses like
He not only helped X, but helped all the people of the world getting rid of that old hag.
There you
All right.
go. Bye-bye,
Free to
Scam.
find an adventure.
Hello, TJ Grumpy and the degenerate son X.
Ow!
Man, how is he degenerate? Wow. X, we heard about your underage booze hound days. Shine is coming off the apple of Grumpy's eye like an apple that gets power washed.
Oh, damn,
TJ.
X. Look at you.
TJ went and exposed you as someone who drank moonshine.
Oh, I've had moonshine before.
Oh no,
With
it's not the fact
Jacob.
that he drank moonshine. It was just like when I knew I didn't really. This character that will not be named, JB, was like, well, he's like, you could tell that's not the first time he drank. I'm like, yeah. I said I was shocked. I was shocked. The first alcoholic drink, and he was still not even 21. I don't think he was close to it. But it was like, well, whatever. And he was like, he knocked back moonshine without a wince, without a look on his face. I'm like, that usually doesn't happen. And that's what started me questioning. And there it was. Johnny Mac.
Grumpy TJ, X, you're not old enough. Remember when the NFL wildcard games were the best games of the playoffs? Now not the last few years. Why? Go ahead. Why do you think that the last couple of years, the wild card games have not been any good?
They've diluted the product because they've got X. I'm sorry.
They diluted the product because they got too many games on.
Well, no.
That sounds like something I would say, but you're not expounded upon enough. You're close.
I think the talent's
TJ,
just not as good too. Am I wrong?
The product's diluted because you let a lot of teams that really don't deserve to be in the playoffs in, and they start playing against teams that do deserve to be in the playoffs, and it comes out with a bad result.
Well, we thought that about the Cowboys, and thought that about the Dolphins, and thought that about the Browns.
Okay,
I mean, those are all.
But you realize
the Chiefs were the better seed.
Okay. The Cowboys were the better seed. The Eagles were the better seed. The Browns were the better seed. All lost.
the Browns are not the better seed.
I thought they were a higher
The
seed
Browns
than the Texans.
No, they had a better record, but they were not the better seed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Long story short, TJ's right. The team there's not enough good teams. I still like the 2 buys for the 2 teams with the 2 best records. I think that was the best way to do it. And there's not enough good teams. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
Drew, X, what do you think about Grumpy's picture right there? How good does that look?
He's in a fishbowl.
Drew L. The connection's just kind of rough right now, Grumpy, on you. Drew L.
Looks like
I
you
had a pretty good week.
Wow, I didn't do anything.
Oh, it actually did. You look sharper now.
There you go. How's that better? Oh, look at that. Drew says, I had a pretty good week with my player predictions for the wild card games. The only one I got wrong was the Browns. I'll take 5-1. I'll make my second round prediction shortly.
That's
Thanks
really
for
good.
the update.
That is good. Derek
Derek
Monroe
Monroe says, did you see the big hit on Tyler Higbee's knee from Detroit? What the frick? I don't know. Shout out to Stafford for coming for the dirty defender on the play and backing up Higbee. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone thinks that Stafford's a good teammate.
I thought Higbee snapped his ankle in half or snapped his shit.
No, it was a knee job.
Yeah, I know that now, but like when I first saw it, I was like, "Ow!"
No, it was definitely.
He says apparently she's never seen a Detroit game to know they play indoors. Yep. Freedom Fund Adventure, Grumpy.
Glad discussing the NFL not caring about anything but money, making players get frostbite. Grumpy, do you know all those NFL appreciation days, military, breast cancer, etc.? NFL was getting paid. Absolutely. They don't do anything unless it's lining the owner's pockets.
We
That's
brought that
all
up.
they care.
We brought that up last year with the breast cancer awareness. It's like less than 8% of the profit goes to breast cancer awareness, and the majority of it was just pocketed by the NFL. I was like, it was not a good look. I could pull that up again to pull it up. Drew L.
Wow. You know, Drew wasn't kidding when he said that his picks were coming up shortly, because here they are. My picks this week for the victors will be 49ers, Lions, Bills, and Ravens. Yes, I know they're all favorites. I can see the Chiefs beating Buffalo, though, for that extra Taylor Swift footage.
Well,
you
I'm
want to
gonna
talk about that now?
because that's who I ended up picking. Were all those.
Ryan Richards says, "What's up?" We'll talk about that in a second.
Although the only thing I was going to say, the only thing I might change is the line. I think the Bucks might beat the Lions because the Lions were talking shit about Baker Mayfield.
Let's talk about that at the end. That's what we'll do at the very end, and we'll talk about that. Let's get through the comments, get called up all up. Ryan Richards says, "What's up, ladies? What's up, Ryan Richards?" Freedom Fund Adventure says, "Who the hell are these two mooks to mute the legendary grumpy old man?"
Mooks.
We got to watch out for Grumpy. He's a loose cannon sometimes, so we got to be preemptive on the mute button.
I speak my mind, and you know what? A lot of people think like I do.
And guess what? It's like Woody Page on Around the Horn. Sometimes he got muted, I feel like, more than any of the old people because he's a lot older. Grumpy, you're starting to get into Woody Page territory, Grumpy. Goon.
Says, will the Islanders poop their pants tomorrow or prevent further sorrow?
Poop.
I think they'll win.
They can't lose to Chicago tomorrow. Can't do it. James Farrell says, a message to that reporter: you're fired.
Drew L.
Update on the Josh Giddey situation. Oh, it's an NBA thing. All right, I'll read it just to read it. The court never found any evidence of Giddey being a pedo, so they dismissed the case. But now the NBA is looking into claims about Giddey being a pedo.
I did see that. Yep.
You want to hear something funny? I saw somebody. They had a local high school choir that was performing.
Yeah,
that was performing behind him as he was warming up, and people in the stands took a video of him and put comments on there. Giddy about to drop 30 tonight with 15 assists.
God,
just so bad.
Freeze warning. Alex says, Grump, your Real boys, Modric and Valverde, voted for Messi for first, and that's what broke the tiebreaker with Holland. If Messi would have won the media vote, which Holland did, you would have said it was rigged. Cry. No, I just said there shouldn't be any fan vote. And anyone with a brain would know that Messi was not the best player in 2023. I'm sorry.
He wasn't the best player on his team. He wasn't the best player in the league. He wasn't the best player on his team, and still somehow he won the best player in the world. Riddle me that.
I mean, you would have thought he would have come into Miami and led them to a playoff spot. He did. That just didn't happen.
He had 0 goals in league games for Miami in the 4.
Those games counted. He's really good at scoring goals in friendlies.
Just get ready. He's going to win the 2035 Ballon d'Or for the 2022 World Cup he won. Just get ready for it.
Okay.
0 goals. Look at this, by the way. Oh, my gosh. This is awful. Chris Greer says that the plan is for Tua Tagovailoa to be the team's long-term quarterback, he told reporters. Oh, God. We had conversations with his agent throughout the year, and the goal is to have him on a long-term, playing at a high level. Oh!
Hold on.
They better hope they get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Otherwise, he will lose. He'll be under 45.
He's not good enough. I'm sorry. The longer he's there, the worse Miami will get. Period. Uh-oh. There's Alex.
Look at this. Alex, I haven't seen Alexander in a long time. Not a long time, Grumpy. I don't know what's going on with Alexander. He hasn't been on any Islander shows. He hasn't been on any of the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man shows, but it's all kind of coincided. It's all coincided. It's all coincided with the Islanders losing, just as you had mentioned, and the Dolphins and Tua struggling. Oh God, let's take a look here. What it says, I know, you know what's hilarious? People want to move off from Tua, but don't realize that Peyton Manning didn't win a playoff game until his 4th season. He was in the playoffs, 2000, 2003, 2004.
Peyton Manning could throw the ball more than 12 yards down the field
without it fluttering.
He didn't need his receivers to come run back and get balls because they were thrown short. Maybe at the end of Peyton Manning's career, he couldn't throw the ball down the field, but certainly not in his first 4 years.
I'm just confused. Go ahead, Grumpy.
Think about how quarterback friendly that Miami offense is. It's San Francisco South. I mean, they just there's Alex even saying that Tua is a donkey dick, or he sucks donkey dicks. I mean, that's even worse, I think. So, I mean, I just don't like how he tried to compare Tua to Peyton
Manning.
I mean, come on, stop, please, really. His arm isn't good enough, period. End of sentence, end of story. His arm is not good enough, and he can't win any time that he has to play out in weather. If it's nice and warm out there early in the season, when he's got elite weapons, he can do well. If he was in New England, he'd be Mac Jones. That's who he'd be. A guy just standing in the back of the room having Gerard Mayo say he's a shitty player. That's what he'd be. He's not good enough. Sorry.
I can't get over that. Alexander, what? He just was talking about how bad Tua was, and today he's already back on the coping mechanism that Tua is like Peyton Manning. Remember, Peyton Manning struggled. He's just like Peyton.
They should absolutely draft over him. They should absolutely draft every year. Every year they should pick a quarterback in the first round. Every year. Hope they get one. Drew says, Grumpy, you seem to be perpetually nervous when it comes to conspiracy theories. Come on, what's wrong with the little conspiracies? They're fun. Because I get muted by these guys over here. They don't like it. They don't like it.
No,
they're freaking millennials.
No, it's when you start talking about things well outside of the PC area, Grumpy, that sometimes you start saying some crazy things.
Crazy's cool. Freeze warning says, X digs down a lot of conspiracies when it comes to Messi. Nobody showed up for this FIFA the best award. Nobody cares about it. Where was Ronnie in this conversation, by the way? Missing per the usual. You know what? Seriously, though, Alex, here's the thing. All the writers and the players, they like Messi. They don't like Ronaldo. Why? because Ronaldo is brash and he's arrogant, period. And I think that hurts him when it comes. TJ says, no, I'm telling you, that's the answer. It's human nature to root for the little fella who, tries to push
the
little engine that could.
The little
the
autistic
mouse
boy.
against the lion.
It's nice to root for the little autistic boy, Messi,
who pushes the narrative that, he's a great guy and everyone loves him.
When he's really not.
When things go bad, he's just like every other player. Well, Ronaldo was never that. He was never that. Absolutely never that. He's absolutely a me guy. He's the greatest player I've ever seen, though. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't care about that other stuff. If you're telling me who's the best, to me, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. It's not even close. Again, I'll say what I always say about this, that there are things that Messi does better than Ronaldo. There are things Ronaldo does better than Messi, but there are things that Ronaldo can do that Messi can't even touch. And there's nothing that Messi can do that Ronaldo can't do. Nothing. That's the difference.
I wonder when the last time Messi had a header goal is. Anyway, Freedom Fan Adventure says here, I see Dolphins offensive coordinator there, Frank Smith, interviewed for a Carolina job. I hope Carolina hires somebody else. I really like Smith with the Dolphins.
Well, I'd like to see him go to they need a head coach. They don't have a head. I mean, unless it's for the head coaching job. I mean,
and apparently they're looking at the VP of the NFL to be their general manager.
Somebody from Park Avenue. You want one of those clowns? That's a big no.
God,
he interviewed for the job, I guess.
By the way, Drew says, by the way, I watched Gerard Mayo's press conference earlier today. That guy is not going to succeed as a head coach. The first words that came out of his mouth was just straight victim mentality. Abso-freaking-lutely. He even said the words diversity, environment,
inclusion. Okay, move along. Freedom, fun, and adventure.
Okay, I'm just saying, when you say those things in your press conference, I don't think you're thinking about football. I just think you're thinking about other things. Freedom, Fun, Adventure says reports are Bill Belichick is going to Atlanta. Good for him. Freedom, Fun, Adventure says, oh God, they're talking soccer again. Someone get these three on testosterone replacement therapy before we start talking WNBA and women's hockey. Thank you, Freedom, Fun, Adventure. Don't worry. We have none of that. The friends and family are not here tonight. Drew says, I like Drake May, of course, but I can see him flaming out and busting if he gets drafted to the Patriots. Honestly, any quarterback who gets drafted there will be a bust. Their best wide receiver is Demario Douglas. Demario Douglas is their best wide receiver. I think Drake May is going number 2 overall. I think it's going to be Williams, May, and then it's going to be the Daniels kid. Jalen, whatever his name is, the Daniels kid. Freeze warning says, TJ, Lanning's buyout was over $20 million, nearly 30. No way Bama was going to realistically get him, nor did he get an offer. DeBoer has won wherever he's gone. It's hard for anyone to follow up Saban. I think it was a good hire for Alabama. I just do. I think
he's been a head coach for 4 years of a Division I program. 1 year he went 3-3. Another year went 9-3. Then he went 14 or 13-1, and then whatever went 12-3, and then 14-1.
They were the worst team. They were the worst team in the conference before he got there.
They were not. That is not correct. That is factually false. False.
I think they were the 3rd worst team in the conference.
They're bad.
There weren't.
Freedom Fun Adventure says Jimmy Sexton reps most coaches, and he did a masterful job getting some of his coaches fat raises. Good for Jimmy Sexton. Frank says it's Matt Fatricia. Actually, he's lost a bunch of weight. Looks much better than he has in the past. Good for him. Frank also adds, hey, Grump, maybe the Patriots can hire Lou Lamoriello to be the GM. I heard the ownership wants to get more credit to what is actually going on with the franchise. That's trouble. That's trouble. Not good. Freeze warning says, what if Kirk Cousins went to Pittsburgh? Why would he go to Pittsburgh?
He's not going to Pittsburgh. They've already got their quarterback of the future.
Yikes for Kenny Spickett.
Mike Tomlin said that they are actively going out and going to get competition for Kenny Pickett this offseason. So that means bye-bye Kenny Pickett. That's what it says to me.
So what it says here is they plan on bringing in competition for Kenny Pickett.
That's what I just said.
Yep.
That's what I just said. I mean, did I not say it?
They're just planning on bringing competition.
Actively, that means it's going to be something they're actively doing.
plan.
When you come out and you actually say that, it means they have no faith in the quarterback.
Okay. That's fine.
Derek Morris says,
again, we listened to the fucking clip on draft night. Best case scenario, average to and above average quarterback, not reinventing the wheel at the quarterback position. And Grumpy
he's
likes
below
to
average.
too.
Derek Monroe says, need to pull up the video of Alex Smith clowning the Patriots' success because they played in the easiest division in football history during their dynasty run. I guess that he should be clowning the Kansas City Chiefs now because of the division that they play in. So
yes, because the mighty Raiders and the fantastic Chargers and the really good Broncos are some really tough teams they've got to worry about every year.
Let's ride. Derek Monroe says, Randy Moss and Ted Bruschi held their tongue while Smith made the factual statement. I think it is true that the Patriots played in a weaker division for certain, but a lot of that was because they were so good every year.
They didn't want to brutalize him when he's already got a fucked up leg. They didn't want to have to worry about another leg injury coming his way.
They said, "Ooh, you know what? This guy almost lost his leg. I don't want him to end up losing his life if I absolutely berate him on national television."
Actually, you hear him snap a toothpick. He's like, whoop, 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 whoop. What's that? Whoop, whoop. Looks down at his leg. Freedom Farm says, TJ, Jed Fish can't be too young. He was roomies with Eagles GM Howie Roseman here at UF. We'll send you the article to the Islanders Never Say email now.
All right, I'll get that pulled up here. Freeze warning.
Guys, Jed Fish took University of Washington head coaching job since DeBoer left, not the Washington Commanders. Come on. I thought they said that was the Commanders.
God damn it, Grumpy.
That's what I thought it said.
And he was the guy from Arizona. Motherfucker, you said the Washington Commanders, not the Washington Huskies. What the fuck, Grump?
I thought it was the Commanders.
What? You thought the Washington Commanders were the guys who play on the West Coast?
I didn't think they were on the West Coast.
I was like, Ron Rivera's been fired? I'm like, okay.
Ron Rivera has been fired.
Ron Rivera has been fired.
I'm questioning everything right now because
Ron Rivera has been canned.
Yeah.
Because I remember they did a special on it. It was going to be Ron Rivera's last game in Washington. It was the last game that Greg Olson was doing with Fox. They did a little special on it.
Okay, Rivera has been okay, gotcha. He's 47, by the way. Jed Fish is 47 years old.
Drew said also, I'm going to Japan on Sunday morning. I'll showcase you my trip if I can. Why, thank you. I bet he's going to be so much taller than most of the people there.
Enjoy, Drew. Enjoy. Have a fun time. Freedom Fun Adventure, Grumpy.
I am responsible for Al.
There it is. That you are.
Drew says Barry Trotz and Lane Lambert saw the Rick Nash move and said, demoted to the third line. Too much creativity, not enough grinding. That is true.
Funny.
Freedom Fun Adventure adds, sounds like Son X is sweet. He is a good guy. But highly untrained dog, he's a wonderful little puppy, is just like him. Food motivated, that's for certain. Highly undisciplined, nah, that's not true. Only follows instructions for food, that's true. Grumpy does the dog also dine and dash like his owner?
Yes.
No, he's much better than X when it comes to
that was the comment that I laughed at, by the way. I was laughing at.
Yeah. But X I had to fill up the water in the refrigerator today because it was empty. X was here, didn't fill it up. I have asked
not there.
I have asked X to please hook up my sound bar and still hasn't done it for weeks now.
Sorry, I only put salt in your water softener the last time that I was there. My bad. I forgot.
Big deal. Good. It's about time. I fed you and your dog.
Let me ask you this. Did you have X put up the picture yet, Grumpy?
He hasn't done that yet either.
You haven't even asked me. What the fuck?
Usually the answer is
Grumpy is hanging a picture.
I'll do it. Here's the thing. Maybe I just like X to come over the house and we spend a little bit of time together.
I do spend time with you. What?
Maybe that's what I asked him to come over.
X is too busy playing videos.
Too busy playing videos.
Over.
Freedom says, TJ, if you didn't buy the cheapest mics you could find, you wouldn't have these issues. Look into some of the new wireless models that they're really good.
Here's the thing. Okay. Could you imagine Freedom Fun and Adventure Grumpy trying to hook up a Bluetooth to his computer? Motherfucker can't even hook up a damn corded sound bar. We'd never get the show on the air if we tried to do a Bluetooth microphone. And X and Grumpy both have plug-in USB Blue Yeti microphones. They're good quality. They just actually have to use them. So
somehow it's my fault once again that TJ is cheap.
I have to find the adapter.
See, motherfucker, those are $100 plus microphones I'm giving you for free.
I have to find the adapter for my computer to use that.
He needs to find an adapter. Don't be getting on X. Why are you so
Jedi?
Why stop
X,
being so
Grumpy, you also still have a Blue Yeti microphone that you can pull out that I gave you as well. That black one. I gave X the white one. You have the black one.
I gave that to X, I think.
All right, next comment.
The problem with the Cowboys is Dak. He's just not a good quarterback. He's like most quarterbacks. He's great in the regular season, but once the playoffs come around, he folds like a lawn chair or like an accordion. Drew says, X, that situation you were in at Texas Roadhouse is just your average night experience in South Florida. LOL. You definitely become more of a dick the more you experience those situations. And X is a good guy. He absolutely is. TJ, I don't even want to tell you what his nickname is, but it's Dr. Feminine Hygiene Product. Drew says, honestly, I'm kind of happy the Dolphins GM wants Tua to be their franchise quarterback. It means I get to continue to laugh at that Dolphins fan.
Sure. You know what? How long before Alexander starts coming on telling us about how Tua can change the thing around, how he'll be successful this next year?
Draft. It'll be draft.
Okay, Drew L.
TJ is so afraid of not being PC, yet he just called Messi a little autistic boy. Come on, TJ, stop being a hypocrite and let Grumpy and X talk some conspiracy theories.
He absolutely has mild autism. You cannot convince me otherwise. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He absolutely has mild autism.
You sound like Jerry Seinfeld. He's gay. We're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That was an actual episode.
Have you ever seen him interact with humans? He stands like this. He doesn't know how to say words. He won't touch anybody. He's got mild form of autism.
One thing I will say, since his move to the United States, he knows how to make a mean hamburger.
Now, TJ, if people have heard you read comments and ad reads, they might think you're autistic. Okay. Drew says the Panthers' next head coach, probably David Tepper. He's a freaking loser, man. He's a loser. Drew says TJ just needs to buy X and Grumpy some Blue Yeti mics.
Yeah, TJ, where are
It'll be like $180 combined. It's well worth the investment.
Why don't you pull up the microphone really quickly that you have, X, and show him?
It's this piece of shit right here. It's white. It's not even blue. It's a trash.
It's not even blue.
It's not even blue.
Not even blue.
Why don't you show where it says Blue Yeti on it?
Why isn't it blue? Why isn't it blue?
Right on the front.
It's not blue. It's white. It's a white Yeti. That one's
why don't you pull up where it says Blue Yeti microphone on both of them? Anyway.
It's white. It's a white.
That's a Dollarama mic, dude. It's a Dollarama mic.
My little brownie with a comment. Let's talk women's pro hockey.
No, why would you do this to him?
Are you all excited for the 3-on-3 showcase? Oh my God. During All-Star Thursday. How embarrassing. It's going to be the biggest crowd they've ever seen. Matter of fact, it's going to be the biggest crowd that all the teams combined have had so far. The one little, what they're going to do, like intermission, like they do with the little kids games, like let the little mites get out there. They're going to let the women do 3-on-3 for 5 minutes. Then they blow the whistle. They got to come off the ice. Off the ice, everybody. Quick, over here. That's the way it's going to be. The women's league is a joke. The fact that someone told us they went to the game and they put all the fans only sat on one side of the arena to make it look like it's full. Oh, stop. They tarp off the top, top off the upper deck. They tarp off half the arena, and they say, "Man, look at how this arena's selling." It's never going to be a product that sells.
TJ,
what's up, Prater? How are you, man? Joseph C said, "I'm disappointed by Alexander not taking his lumps. The worst is somebody being so overconfident for so long, only to disappear when adversity strikes." Yep, absolutely. Yep. And here we go. And Drew says here, okay, now I see why the mic sounds like crap. It's because it's literally to X's side and not in front of him. Well, X is not plugging it into his computer. So he's not using it, but he has it there, but he's just not using it. So
it's a little connection thing that he needs.
X, can you today, at the end of the day, you have an Amazon fulfillment center in Charlotte. Can you order a USB to USC port converter and then go ahead and have that by Sunday's podcast?
I will USC if I can MA.
Oh, look at that X. He's witty.
Oh God. Oh man. Look at Brain.
Brainerd 954. It's chronic lateness is a sign of autism. And maybe he is.
That's a good one to end it on.
All righty, we have to go ahead and give our picks. Who we think Pick'ems. Who do you think is going to win?
All right.
Let's go first.
I got mad last week because I left him out of one of the games to pick, so we got a little pissy. So TJ, we're going to let you pick.
Yeah, you go first there, crybaby. Go.
We'll let you go with the first game. Game 1, Baltimore against Houston. Let's see if you got the balls to pick Houston.
Houston.
Okay.
Houston.
X.
Ravens.
All righty. What's game 2 for the evening?
Game 2 is game 2. What's the NFC game? The 49ers and the Packers. TJ?
49ers.
X?
49ers only because of Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. Nothing to do with Brock Purdy at all, but 49ers, yeah.
Okay. 49ers. Next game is going to be the Buccaneers against the Lions.
Am I not allowed to say what I pick?
No, we do the same thing you did last week. We're moving along. We're moving right along.
I picked the 49ers to beat Green Bay. And I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
Lions against the Buccaneers. I'm giving it to the Lions.
X?
You know what? I'm going to go off of the favorite, and I'm going to pick the Buccaneers only because Detroit was talking shit about Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield said, you know what? You might want to watch a little bit more film there, buddy. So I'm going to say Bake Nation, baby, we ride.
The guy, one of the defensive backs, the guys who really don't get hit or anything like that, came out and said, yeah, Baker Mayfield, he's a shitty quarterback. He's got 3 all pros there, and Chris Godwin, Michael Evans, and Russell Gage. And then that's when Mayfield came out and said, you need to watch more film. We haven't had Russell Gage here since preseason. But you sound like a regular telecaster who doesn't know anything about the team. So I think he's going to be fired up. I'm rooting for Tampa, but I think Detroit's going to win.
Hey, at least he knows what kind of stadium he's playing in.
That's true.
Let's go Detroit.
I'm rooting for Tampa, though, for certain.
Yeah, I want Tampa to win. Tampa
Nation.
Fake Nation,
baby. You know people who play for the Lions, Grumpy. What are you doing?
Doesn't matter. And then
Fake Nation.
The last game, Bills and Chiefs.
Well, I think this is important to pop for make our selections.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember Ed Hockley?
Yes.
Well, don't worry. His, I'm sure, very qualified son, Sean Hockley, who is also an NFL official, will be refereeing for the Bills and Chiefs divisional round game on Sunday night. The Chiefs are 8-2 during the Mahomes era with Hockley, including 2-0 in the playoffs. The Bills, on the other hand, have received 40 penalties and 347 yards called against them in 4 games with Hockley. So they're averaging 10 penalties a game and almost 100 penalty yards a game. I'm sorry, and almost about 70 or over 70 penalty yards a game.
It's almost 90.
Almost 90 penalty yards, 85 penalty yards a game, 10 penalties and 85 penalty yards a game with Sean Hockley as the head referee.
The fix is already in.
What's the key to that game?
This motherfucker right here.
Okay. All right, X. Who are you picking? Who are you picking in this game, X?
I want the Bills to win, but with this piece of shit out there on the field, it seems like it's impossible. I mean, they're already down 7 based off the penalties per game that this piece of shit calls on the Bills. So I want the Bills to win. I hope they win. I think they're going to win. But, the NFL wants to push Kermit through, so.
I'm picking the Bills. I think that Josh Allen is playing on another level right now, and it's not a home game for the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs are winning this game.
Okay. I think you already said that. So, like I said, I'm rooting for the Bills. I hope the Bills win. I'm picking the Bills. And, just because, as we all know, according to some people, just because you're 3-3 against a team and 0-2 in the playoffs, you're still the better quarterback. So I'm going with Josh Allen, the better quarterback. in today's game.
First off, I never submitted my selection, grumpy old man. X immediately said, "That's it. The fucking game's over. The fix is in." X just took it and ran with it. So again, I got passed up on again, grumpy. I'll tell you this. I do think the Chiefs will win. I think that this official very coincidentally has been selected for this game, who's shown obvious bias towards the Chiefs and the boys, little Patty Mahomes and the boys. And I think against the Bills, I'm interested to see what his record are when the Bills are playing. But if you're averaging 10 penalties against and almost 85 penalty yards against a game when this guy is the official, that seems a little much.
It's almost like in the old WWE days where they used to dress up a wrestler as the ref.
Danny Davis.
Danny Davis. You have a guy pinned. No, he's not even slapping. He's not even starting a count. 1, 2, 3. When the other guy gets you pinned. Disgraceful.
3.
The NFL knows what they're doing.
TJ, what do you think?
I am rooting for the Bills, but I think that this is very coincidental. I think bigger conspiracy. I think they want the Swifties to tune into this shit in the football games as long as possible. And I think the league will be doing anything in their power to make sure that the Swifties stay tuned in and viewership stays up and the Kansas City Chiefs are alive in the postseason. I firmly believe that. And that is very conspiratorial, but I think that's the case.
I'm going to tell you, there's no way Kansas City's beating Baltimore. Zero chance of Kansas
Baltimore's getting beat this weekend by the Houston Texans. We've already gone over this, Grump.
Yeah, okay.
I have another name for the Chiefs that I'm not going to say.
Okay.
I can only
know what
imagine.
you're talking about. Go ahead, X. Go ahead, say it.
Nah,
let's not and say you did.
Okay. TJ, what's the key to this game, though? What do you think the key is?
That guy, that ref.
No,
I like
Hagelback, or whatever the hell his name was.
It's Hockey Lee.
Close enough.
But the key to the game, it's not Ed Hockey Lee, but his son, Sean. The thing that I think is the key to this game, it's Sean McDermott staying out of the way. I think he's a shitty coach. He has a loser gene involved in him, and that's a big problem, I think. It's the reason why somehow the Pittsburgh Steelers found a way to claw themselves back into a 7-point game late in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, because just the Bills sometimes let their foot off the gas. They change the way they play, and you can't do that against good quarterbacks because you will lose those games. So Sean McDermott staying out of the way of the team is important. Josh Allen not trying to play hero ball is also important, and that team fucking utilizing the run game is monsterly important. Run the fucking ball to James Cook, establish the run game, wear down that defense for the Chiefs, and that's how you beat them. That's simple.
To me, X, do you have any football keys to the game?
Kill that official before he gets out there on the field.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the best thing for the Bills, if they want to win, first off, they need to get some guys healthy. But I think it's the coach. He's an idiot. He does dumb shit, which costs the team games. I've told you this since the beginning of the year when they lost to the Patriots, a game that they shouldn't have lost. They lost a lot of games due to poor coaching right at the end, and their defense falls apart at the end of the game. They always do.
Okay, for me, a couple of things are key. Because that Pittsburgh game was really, really physical last week. They're a couple of days less rest for Buffalo. Can they get some of their injured personnel back? And for me, on the field, can Isaiah Pacheco run the ball as efficiently as he did last week? I think that's key. If Buffalo is able to stop their run game, I think it's a long day for Kansas City.
Okay. Got a few more comments here. Drew says, damn, TJ, you just got owned, little bro. I know I did. My little brownie says here, Jesus, Grumpy, is there any women's sport that you can sit through in its entirety?
Absolutely there is. Like when they're diving, I can absolutely watch them diving or watch them play beach volleyball. Absolutely can do that.
Gymnastics too, Grump. Don't forget.
Gymnastics.
Grumpy likes women's tennis.
Yeah, but I can't watch the whole thing. So, but I can't. She has the ones I can watch the whole time.
I can't watch the whole thing though.
Yeah, some of them are good, some of them are not so good. So that's tough. But I can watch women's diving, and gymnastics, and absolutely beach volleyball. Yeah, those are the ones. Because I don't know if you ever watch how they film those sports. They don't really care about the athletic portions, honestly.
Drew,
Everything's a low angle shot. I mean, everything.
Motherfucker, move along, Grumpy.
Drew says, you can't tell me they don't know what they're doing with how they're using.
Comment. I just think the Bills are hot at the right time. I think even despite the stupid ref, they'll still find a way to win. It'll be close, though. It absolutely will be a close game. I agree.
They've won 6 games in a row, and they're absolutely battle-tested, for certain.
Derek Monroe says here, better hope that Houston doesn't win, or else Mahomes will host all 6 AFC title games since he's become a starter.
Well, he's going to have to win a road playoff game for the first time ever. So let's see what happens. Brainer 954 says, Grumpy likes women's wrestling. Heard he was a fan of the Fabulous Moolah. No, I liked, trying to think of who I like, some of the young ones. Not Fabulous Moolah, man.
All righty. We're here. We're wrapping it up, Grumpy. We're at the end of the show. What do you guys want to say before we wrap it up? 2.5 hours in.
Fabulous Moolah is dead. So I'd like to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X.
And Son X, what do you want to say before we wrap things up here tonight?
Want to appreciate for everybody getting involved in the comments section. You guys are great. Love the interaction with you guys. I hope my picks are better this week than last week. They were not too good. So I'm hoping week 2 do a little bit better. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks so much, everybody, for watching the show here today. Thank you always for the engagement. Thanks for the comments. Thanks there for no 24-hour podcast next episode, Drew. But thank you so much for the input. Thank you so much for topics of discussion additionally. And I saw a comment here, Joseph C. Remind me about some guy named Urinating Tree. So we could talk about that next time when we got a little bit more time. But apparently he breaks down, I guess, the Cowboys choking, and it might be funny. So we'll watch that. That's always good. To laugh at Cowboys is always fun. It's like America's pastime at this point. But thanks so much, everybody, for commenting in, tuning in, and being here with us. Thanks so much, Grumpy. Thanks so much, Son X. We'll see you guys next time, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much, guys.